seat again. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will proceed to the first agenda of the event, which is the opening remarks delivery. First to deliver opening remarks, it is our honor to invite the Chief Executive Officer of the Summit Institute for Development, Ibu Yuni Dwi Setiawati, to deliver her welcoming remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ibu Yuni Dwi Setiawati.
Maybe you can try this one again. Yeah.
Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay, I think we need to warm up. When I said Genomics and Science Dojo, you said strike with arguments, defend your ideas. Okay? All right. Oh, yeah, welcome, Julia. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Ready? Genomics and Science Dojo. Defend your ideas. Wow, great. Applause. Yeah, before we dive into science, let me start with a simple thought. I think science is a bit like coffee. Everyone drinking coffee already? Yeah, it wakes us up, sharpens our morning time, and even sometimes keep us up late for working on our manuscript. And just like coffee, science is best enjoyed together, shared, discussed, and also debated. So this is the spirit of today's gathering, is also to have like a scientific, serious, but also fun and collaborative event. So distinguished representative from the Institute, Summit has long been committed to advancing research, public health, and research capacity in Indonesia by bridging science with community impact. So through this initiative of Genomics and Science Dojo, Summit, JSE, Lab, and Oxford University Clinical Research Unit as working together as a consortium to create a unique platform where experiential learning and also mentorship collaboration converge into strengthened biomedical research capacity. And this would not be possible without the support from the British Embassy in Jakarta. Again, thank you and applause. And I also wish to honor our co-creator of Dojo, Dr. Andra Shankar, here sitting with us, Dr. Arif Pradipta, sitting with us, and also someone far beyond this country, Dr. Felipe Argulo, Dr. Daniel Fattori, who are both from Brazil, and Prof. Rina Agustina, sitting at the back. Prof, thank you for always accompanying us. Then our vision is actually to make the journey possible. And let me pause here. So, Dr. Anura Shankar, as the creator of the dojo, thank you for your dedication that is truly instrumental to always support the Indonesian scientists to become excellent. And I also will call Prof. Rina Agustina. Prof, you stand true as a women scientist leader from Indonesia. And I believe that you already trained the next generation to become a great scientist as well. So I also thank you for the collaborators that we've created already. So this dojo is hosted by Indonesian institution, led by Summit Institute, GSI Lab. There is a new collaborator from Siena, Genopica, and Enhance Global, the one organization led by Prof. Rina Agustina. Thank you, Prof. Rina, again. I will also to thank many people, actually, as the co-creator of Dojo, who has laid down the foundation for the Dojo. Dr. Anuras again, Dr. Arif Pradipta, Dr. Edward Sutanto, thank you. Who is the alumni of Dojo 1 winner? I remember the time you won, and Pak Dr. Ahmad Handoyo also here with us as the alumni of Dojo 1 and become the winner and continuously supporting our Dojo 2, 3 today. And appreciation goes to Dr. Husna. Thank you for always accompanying us. Dr. Aditya Warman is not coming here from Summit Institute for Development. Dr. Ahmad Handoyo from ERC, Dr. Ajeng, Dr. Yvonne, Dr. Monique, Dr. Fanny, and all of the sensei who continue contribute actively until this dojo. And of course, your mentorship, your companionship is the heartbeat of the dojo itself. Thank you. Yeah, and we also extend our appreciation to Ibu Lia Rosida from the Summit Institute for Development, whose steady leadership has carried this cohort forward. And thank you also for the lead of the dojo project, Winditya Savitri, where is she? Oh, yeah. And her outstanding team, the Fika, Adin, Elva, Irshad, Arsil, and many others who tirelessly make this dojo event possible. And stay tuned, because they wanna make a surprises today. They will unveil and showcasing how their creativity and commitment will sustain dojo beyond today, even beyond the space. And of course, this is a very important one. I congratulate for all the 18 teams who are sitting today. You've been selected from hundreds of researchers across the country, from 343, 45, not mistaken, and 144 actually attending the dojo. Then from that numbers, 18 were selected to be quarantined 4 to 5 days to just write your manuscript, and congratulations, you submit your work. Yeah, so this is a very immersive and experiential learning, because the Genomics and Science Dojo has been trained over 343 researchers across the country, and including the recent dojo trained 144 researchers. And 18 were selected and submitted the work already yesterday. So this growth reflects that dojo role as a platform for nurturing talent and strengthening Indonesia's biomedical science. I'm honored to also have representatives from other countries. I think they also interested to have a dojo hosted in the country. And I'm happy to bring all the winners of dojo to compete to their countries. Are you ready? Yeah. Yeah, this is important because the Global South researchers, I think, have a very competitive and very strong powers. Yeah, if it can win, compete, and win, and with other researchers in the countries, in other countries. So as part of this vision, as I mentioned, we aspire to send winners from the dojo Indonesia to other countries and compete to win. This is the key pillars, yeah, that we have want the dojo keep sustaining. So looking forward, I'm happy to also onboard any organization who want to do dojo in their institution here in the country, universities, and other institutions. And we're also happy to bring the champions from the dojo in Indonesia to compete to other countries. But last but not least, so you are ready to come, to learn, and to win. And again, the Genomics and Science Dojo brings Indonesian biomedical research into AdFrom. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank thank you very much, Bu Yuni, for the inspiring remarks and your commitment to support Indonesia's system ecosystem. Next, to deliver her remarks and officially open today's event, it is our great honor to invite the health advisor and head of health from the British Embassy, Jakarta, Miss Julia Takahashi Robertson. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Julia.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was a bit late today, too late. Apologies for that. So, good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, researchers, partners, and participants. It's a pleasure to join you today for the Genomics and Science Dojo 3 Dissemination. On behalf of the British Embassy, Jakarta, I would like to thank the Summit Institute for Development, the Dojo Committee, mentors, experts, researchers, and all participants, institutions for bringing us together for this important event. Today's dissemination marks an important milestone in the Dojo 3 journey. It's encouraging to see how Dojo has evolved from earlier phases into a more mature and structured initiative, building on the achievement of Dojo 3. Dojo 2 as well, apologies, I forgot, continues this progress by supporting high-quality research outputs, policy briefing, mentoring, and collaboration across institutions. For the UK, this agenda is closely aligned with the UK-Indonesia Strategic Partnership. Participants are particularly our shared ambitions to strengthen collaboration in health, science, technology, and innovation. Genomics, biomedical research, and data-driven science are critical to the future of health systems. They can help countries better understand disease patterns, improve precision medicine, strengthen public health decisions making, and prepare for future health threats. That is why today's theme, Advancing Genomics and Health Scientific Research for Indonesia's Future Innovation, Collaboration, and Impact, is so important. The agenda asks three central questions: where Indonesia's health science and scientific research is heading, how biomedical research can be empowered to contribute to the future, and how research can create real-world impact. These are exactly the kinds of questions that matter for long-term health transformation. So maybe I would like to change the opening remarks here, just add something that I think is very important. So I came late because I was at an accident. So someone who, I'm not sure if he's alive still, because it was a road accident. So I went to see if I could support them. When I spoke to the police, and I asked when the ambulance was coming, he didn't know when the ambulance wasn't being called. And so I asked, call the ambulance, and there was a hospital just across the road, but it was a private hospital, so nobody came for that person. So I thought about what I read before in the literature about the mortality rate in Indonesia. When it comes to accident, the mortality rate is very high. But if you read in detail, not in much detail, but if you just read it, the issue is not about the accident itself. It's about the post-treatment, about the standard operation procedure, about that police that didn't know what to do because it wasn't told what to do. So this is why, of course, there are areas of research like genomics are very important, but this is why biomedical science is important. This is why we need researchers to read that data and to inform our and to save lives. So I just wanted to say that, and then I can go back to my speech. But I think it's very important for people to understand how researchers are really key for a health system strengthening that we are trying to support here in Indonesia. So let me go back to the speech. It's not too long. The UK is proud to support initiatives like Dojo because they help build the foundation for a stronger research ecosystem. This includes not only building individual researcher capacity, but how researchers can use data, as I just said, evidence, and scientific reasonings to address real health challenges. There we are, an example, and we have plenty of opportunity for dialogue on how research can inform policy and practice, and how Indonesia's biomedical research ecosystem can contribute to growth. Bringing together government, academia, healthcare institutions, development partners, industry, and the broader research community today is very important. Strengthening biomedical research cannot be done by one institution alone. It requires collaboration across sectors, and it requires sustained partnership between researchers, policymakers, practitioners, and communities. As the UK and Indonesia continue to deepen our strategic partnership, we see strong opportunities for further collaboration in genomics, biomedical science, health innovation, and research translation. Our shared objective is not only to generate knowledge, but to ensure that knowledge supports stronger health systems, more effective policies, and better health outcomes. To all Dojo participants, congratulations on reaching this stage. Your work, commitment, and curiosity are at the heart of this program. I encourage you to continue developing your research, sharing your findings, and building collaboration that can carry your work beyond this event. I hope today's dissemination will be a productive space for learning, reflection, and partnership. More importantly, I hope it will help strengthening the bridge between scientific research and real-world impact. Thank you very much, and I wish you everyone a successful and inspiring dissemination event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Julia, for your inspiring remarks. Please stay there for a while. Ms. Julia? I'm so sorry, yeah.
To officially open, hit the gravel 3 times.
Please,
In the podium.
in the podium.
Yeah. There's a gravel there, yeah.
Please stay there and help us to launch the Dojo dissemination by hitting the gravel 40 times.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Are you ready? Ready?
Genomics and Science Dojo dissemination event has officially opened. Thank you,
Scientific
everyone.
breakthroughs don't
Thank
begin
you,
with passive
Julia. You can
observations.
stop.
They begin with curious minds.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the next session is about Dojo introduction. For some of you who may not familiar about Dojo program, we have a short video for you to watch to give you insight about what the Dojo is. And for our participants, you might just spot a few familiar faces. This video also celebrates your own journey.
Scientific breakthroughs don't begin with passive observations. They begin with curious minds, people willing to ask difficult questions, challenge assumptions, and search relentlessly for the truth. Genomics and Science Dojo was created to address key gaps in research capacity, scientific communication, and the translation of scientific evidence into health policy. More than a training program, Dojo is an immersive learning experience designed to accelerate high-quality genomic and science research in Indonesia. At the heart of the program is Shinjitsu. In the context of the Dojo approach, it reflects a core principle of seeking the truth through inquiry, critical thinking, and open scientific discussion. Unique activities, from Wounded Healer to Shinjitsu Ninja to the Shinjitsu Tournament, Dojo builds resilience, confidence, and collaboration. Session is an open discussion where sensei and participants share personal experiences, creating a safe space for growth and learning. Challenges participants to complete scientific writing tasks with speed, focus, and precision. Scientific debate competition, where teams present their research and receive feedback. Genomics and Science Dojo is building more than scientific skills. It is empowering future scientific leaders, because the future of science belongs to those who never stop searching for the truth, and your journey begins here.
About what the program is about, and for our participants, perhaps a moment to reflect on how far you have become. We will now continue to our first dissemination event. Our first dissemination session will highlight the broader landscape of health research and innovation, the journey of the Dojo program, and how research can create meaningful impact through the evidence-informed action. Today's session will consist of three presentations: advancing research for real-world impact, building the bridge, the Dojo vision and the role of NGOs, and from evidence to policy through collaborations, particularly about translating research into policy and decision making, and strengthening UK-Indonesia collaboration to accelerate research transitions and real-world impact. Without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator, Dr. Edward Sutanto, to lead the session. The stage is yours.
Hello, test. Hello, everyone. So I'll be the moderator for the dissemination session 1 for the expert talk show. We have here 5 distinguished speakers, and I will call them to the front. Starting from Honorary Associate Prof. Dewi Nur Aisyah, MSc, DIC, PhD, FRSPH, Technical Advisor for the Primary Care and the Disease Control in the Digital Transformation Office. Bu Dewi, you can come up from Dewi. Thank you. Julia Takahashi Robertson, Health Advisor and Head of Health from the British Embassy, Jakarta. Julia, please come front. Bu Lia Rosida, SPD MDFST, COO of the Summit Institute for Development. Anurag Shankar, PhD Senior Scientist from Okru, Indonesia. And last but not least, Padaman Pratista, Sarjana Terapan Gizi MKM, Junior Analyst from the BKPK, Ministry of Health. Yeah. So we will have 3 presentations from the speakers here, and for the first presentation, it will be delivered by Prof. Dewi, looking at how do we translate from research into real-world action impact, and what kind of promising research finding that we can use to make sure that studies have impacts that can be felt by the community. Bu Dewi, you can go to the front and deliver your presentation.
Yes. Okay, we can start the slide presentations then. Well, hi, good morning, everyone. It is truly a pleasure for me to be here and become one of the panelists in the first dissemination session. So, can I start the slide presentations? Okay. So in these sessions, I would like to share a little bit of the experience that I had that might provide some insightful points for you, how we can translate from research to real-world impact. Okay. Okay. So let's start with thinking about the impact pathway. So the pathway is not automatic. When we are talking about a study, we may produce new knowledge, but that knowledge needs to be turned into actionable evidence, then into decisions, and then into implementations, and in a real health system. And finally, it can create some impact for the people. We need to have we need to have an agreement before we moving forward that research only matters when it moves beyond publications, but also it can turn and improve decisions. It can improve the services and ultimately improve the people's life. So this is a very important point. So I would like to illustrate some of the pathway where research can travel to. So let's say we start with the publication, study, research, how it can be translated into policy. That's one point. So we can translate the evidence into clinical guidelines, national recommendations, including policy standards. Some data can be translated into public health actions, let's say, starting from developing the protocols, response planning, preparedness strategies, and cross-sectoral guidelines. And the other pathway, you might also need to think that the research can be translated into innovations pathway, where we can develop, let's say, a new diagnostic tools, digital solutions, improving the care workflows at the community. So the pattern is similar. We need to start first by defining the real problem with the users. Start with the problems, the real problems that is needed to be addressed, and then translate the evidence into a decisions format, and then use it as an implementations channels. So this is some examples that I would like to share you. This is two of the studies that has been published previously during my PhD. So one is a systematic review and meta-analysis, screening over 12,000 of articles on defining the hepatitis C spontaneous clearance and risk factors behind it. The second one is a cross-sectional study looking at the prevalence, including the whole genome sequencing, looking at the transmissions of hepatitis C among vulnerable populations in London between the injecting drug users, homeless, and prisoners. And those two studies, the first one, it adopted as a key reference for hepatologists across the European recommendations. So based on the meta-analysis and systematic review coming from more than 12,000 plus articles, it becomes clinical recommendations guideline that change the practices in the Europe. The second one, it also has been used as recommendations and informing Public Health England for hepatitis C eliminations. The first study actually submitted to a journal, and it was accepted without any revisions. So, so it's kind of quite an experience. So I would like to highlight one of the lessons learned from here. You need to have a rigorous methodology and clear policy audience if you want to have a direct uptake into the clinical guideline. You need to answer something that is really concerning for the healthcare workers and implementations, let's say. The second examples I would like to bring you, this is one of the study, the first study that describing COVID-19's pandemic situations in Indonesia in the first 6 months during COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. It provides the spatio-temporal patterns, mortality, the risk factors, and the impact of this study. It is informing the nation's COVID-19 pandemic controls, PPE standard, the management. If you still remember micro PPKM, if you still remember comorbidities people, older people need to go straight to the hospitals. But if you are only, if you are healthy, let's say, do not have asymptomatic infections, you can stay at home and have self-isolations, if you still remember that. It was based on this data analysis. It has been informed the policymakers how to create and produce a strategy based on the data. So the lessons from this examples is if we are having a timely, decisions-ready evidence embedded within the response system, it can rapidly inform emergency policy and response for the government. Of course, it was published later on, but the data analysis has been presented earlier, much earlier to the policymakers. So this is the second example. The third examples, this is another 2 studies that has been conducted, providing a comprehensive national studies across 34 provinces, mapping out the internet quality across puskesmas in Indonesia, capturing 99% of the puskesmas, not only asking, do you have any internet at the puskesmas, but measuring whether the internet's available, how is the quality of that internet? So we divided the quality of the internet and become a baseline for the Ministry of Health to understand the minimum requirement for information communications technology standard at the primary care level. The second one is mapping out the health information system utilizations across primary health care. We have been talking about there are so many applications, but have we provided any evidence and data behind it? So this study, mapping out the numbers of health information system, has been used by the healthcare workers, the burden of data input, and become a reference again as a source of reference for digital health transformation strategy at the Ministry of Health. So the lessons will be evidence is more likely to influence action when it provides a clear baseline, identify any specific operational gap, and it is directly linked to an ongoing policy process. It can be translated into a real-world impact. And now I would like to say the example number 4. This is one of the previous innovations I would like to say that have been created by me and my team. So we developed what we call TBD care, tuberculosis detect and care, which is long ago, 2016, if I still remember. It was just an example how we can translate research, but for frontline diagnostic innovations. If you still remember, before COVID-19 pandemic, TB testing in Indonesia mostly using acid bacilli tests, and then the sensitivity is very low, 50%, 60%, and then the healthcare workers need to look at the microscope, looking at 100 microscopic field, positive 1, 2, and 3. So based on that problem, and we still understand the number of TB cases is still very high in Indonesia. One of the problems coming from the diagnostic precisions. The second one is the compliance when we found TB patient. So this research, we are developing an automated TB detections model using machine learning and AI during that time, and develop a microscope that can be used only using a mobile phone, capturing the pictures. So it was designed for a low-cost portable solutions that can be implemented in many countries. So these innovations has been conducted also in Surabaya. We support by the governors, including the Stop TB Indonesia, and then we test the innovations in a real-world setting to looking at the feedback coming from the users itself. So these innovations has won the Imagine Cup student competitions in 2016 from Indonesia, and then this can be translated into a lessons. So the research can become implementable innovations when it can solve a frontline problems. Again, we need to understand what is the real problems facing by our frontline health workers, and how can we provide solutions and can translate research and then improving by having the innovations as the pathway. So I would like to say the questions will be coming from mostly of the researchers is why promising findings usually struggles to reach practices, which is the most common problems that we had. Sometimes you can look at some reasons behind it. Often, the research questions is not framed as a decision. It is academically interested, but it is interested for the policymakers to use that, and then it has not unclear ownership. No decisions maker was involved from the start. So nobody is waiting for the result of this study. It also can create, the research cannot be translated into real-world impact. And also, there is no implementations design. This is very good, but it is applicable for the real-world setting. We also need to test that. So the last mile gap is usually not a scientific problem, but we need to design the pathway, including before the data collections, not after the paper is accepted. So this is very important. So what it takes to turn research into impact, I would like to start with a real decisions. You need to define the problems. You need to identify who will use the evidence, co-create it with the right partners, engaging the policymakers, clinicians, communities, implementers, and partners as early as possible. And then we can start producing decisions-ready evidence. It is also very important to ensure that the evidence is relevant, timely, and robust, and how you can translate the findings into a clear, usable format. Sometimes the researcher is trapped by having a very good numbers and statistic behind the study, but could not translate it in a very simple way of communications to the policymakers. So we need to translate the findings into an easier format to be understood by many peoples. And the last one is build it for implementations. You can develop the policy brief, the guidelines, any tools, dashboard that can make them understand what you are trying to build, and planning the pathway to adoptions and scale. So having an impact is not accidental. It is designed through the relevance, collaborations, quality, and implementations readiness. So I would like to close these presentations with, let us not stop at generating evidence. That's one step. Let us ensure that our evidence can travel from research to decisions to implementations and ultimately to better life for more people in the world. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, Bu Dewi, for that very clear presentation. I think that was very insightful presentation. So key takeaways for the translation to the study, from study to impacts include making sure your study look at real problem, connecting directly to communities, policymakers early on, and having the solution built on impact. And I think this is also very relevant to the Dojo participant here, who just recently submitted their manuscript yesterday, and how we can take one step forward from publication to the real-world impact too. Thank you for setting up the stage too, actually, for our second topic. We have two presenters here, which is Bu Lia and Pa Anu. Now we know how evidence can be translated to real-world impact, changes in policy. Then how are we empowering our researchers to get there? And in this case, I would give the floor to Bu Lia and Pa Anu. Yep. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Good to be here as always. Great to see so many old friends and new friends, not old in age necessarily, but people I've known for a long time. So I don't have any slides to show you today, but I just want to say a few things. So following up on a very nice, insightful presentation by Ibu Dewi, so I think that in many ways, in the last 5 to 10 years, partly catalyzed by the pandemic, we have actually transitioned into a world where the rate of knowledge creation has exceeded the rate of knowledge transfer. So what this means is that the traditional university that we all have looked up to as being a place where great innovations occur, that maybe that time is over. And there's maybe a new era that has emerged where it's really linking together knowledge creation directly with an implementation of these ideas. So it's a greater integration of that. So what we need is really a new set of scientists, new set of institutions probably, that are linking together very closely knowledge creation with implementation of that from the start, as already highlighted. So I think this relates to really the resilience and innovation in science in general. And sorry, I'm being told to get better resilience in my speaking here. So, so as I said, this really relates to improved resilience and innovations in science. And that's part of what the dojo is about, bringing people together, having discussion, open discussion. So debate is absolutely critical. Debate and dissent is very, very important. And in many places where science is practiced, it's not really the practice of science. And I don't mean just in Indonesia or other places where resources are not so good, but even in high-income countries, often in institutions, there is not real debate and dissent. And in fact, real debate and dissent globally, interestingly enough, with social media, is actually decreasing because we're incentivized to sort of agree and give a thumbs up and fantastic, right? So I think that we're moving into a world also where there's greater homogeneity in responses to things, everything being given a thumbs up or positive feedback. And with all this increased use also of these LLMs, what's very interesting is that the diversity of thinking is also going down because you're harvesting information from all past things that have been done, and those various LLMs and the transformers that they're based on essentially giving everyone very similar advice for a similar prompt. So it means the total heterogeneity in thinking and writing is actually going down. Although there's more of it and better quality, it's less heterogeneous. So this means, as a society, the potential danger is less diversity. And as we know, life forms, none of us can really predict the future. So how do we actually survive and become successful to challenges in the future? So the answer to that is by creation of diversity. So the more diverse ideas you have, the more communication there is about different ideas, it means you are prepared, you are pre-prepared for any future challenge. And this is extremely important. And this only emerges actually by challenging each other in your ideas, honing what your thoughts are, realizing what you're thinking is maybe not so correct. And this is why something like the dojo is so important, and really breaking down hierarchies. And I always say one of the keys to the success of the dojo in launching it is people willing of all different levels to engage in discourse and dissent and challenging each other and defending their ideas. So you have students challenging professors, you have senior people, old people like me, being challenged by young people. And this is extremely important because this shows the courage of all of them, both a senior person to be wrong and the younger person to create a challenge, leading to much better discovery and much better information that can be useful for policy and action. So this is one of the reasons why I'm very excited about the fact that this dojo was created. And even the story of the creation of the dojo is very interesting because it actually emerged from a desire to create an activity that would lead to better outputs, sort of research publications. And this was an initiative from the British Embassy saying that there had been a lot of support investments from the UK government during the pandemic. And the concern was maybe some of the lessons learned from that were not being adequately encapsulated or disseminated. So myself and a few others were approached to say, can something be done about it? So we did propose this idea of a workshop, and we even called it the dojo. And we started this process of sort of more traditional courses. We were doing things like, personal empowerment, persuasive language, some things that were not ordinary practice. But the methodology of that, we realized after about 1 or 2 weeks that maybe this isn't really transformative. And again, based on data, the assessments that we were doing for the dojo attendees. And so, again, this openness of being critical of ourselves and of each other and saying, yeah, this is interesting, but really not really transformational. Okay. So then within, in fact, 10 minutes to 30 minutes max, the team had come up with this totally different idea that let's actually just have people fight in a structured way and really openly create a forum for disagreement in a safe way for people to have this kind of disagreement. And that's how a lot of innovations are. People realizing, hey, what we're doing is not working because you're openly critical of yourself, and someone else willing to say, yeah, what you're doing isn't working. And then working together to find what might be a solution and actually trying that solution. So that's how a lot of this ninja run, Shinjitsu match, all of that sort of evolved out of that. And very quickly after doing that, it was realized, wow, this is really interesting. And one of the most, there was two transformative moments, I would say, in this whole dojo approach. One was at the first Shinjitsu tournament, amazingly, people were sitting in a room like this, and some people had won matches, some had not won the matches, but they were all actually watching a match on a screen in one of the rooms and cheering the teams on. And I saw the exact same scene 3 or 4 days ago when I landed. I was coming from India back here. I was in the airport in Singapore, and there in the early morning, there were a bunch of people gathered around a screen watching the final match between Argentina and Spain with the exact same feeling as they were watching, as I saw people watching a Shinjitsu match. So that was very exciting to see that as an opening moment. The other one, amazing moment in that, is Professor Ahmad Utoma was there as one of the pioneering professors willing to be in the dojo and openly debate and win matches and not win some matches. And he wasn't complaining about it. He was saying this is critical. So I always honor him, Ahmad, one of the first to really stand up and do something really exciting. So life is about transformations, innovations, realizing your mistakes, not being shy about that, trying to correct them, and also helping other people to say, hey, what you're doing is not working. I think this is not okay. Let's figure out how to improve it. So being open to that, creating transformation, that's an absolute critical part of it. And let's keep doing this and winning together and getting better together. Thank you.
Thank you, Panu. Do you wanna?
Okay, so it's kind of opposite situation. So Paano is taller, so I need to shorten it. Okay, thank you very much for the moderator. So I may have my slide first. So I'm going to talk more about how Summit Institute for Development as women-led organization, which is based in Indonesia or even based in Lombok. So yeah, as you know that Lombok is in a bit of the eastern part of Indonesia, but we believe that the light comes from everywhere, including from the eastern part of Indonesia. Yeah, so Summit Institute for Development as a women-led institutions, where we are also research-based institution. We support more, and we would like to empower as well the scientific leaders and the researchers itself through this Genomics and Science Dojo. Of course, with our co-founders here, Pak Anuraj and the rest of the team. Next slide. Yeah, so why this dojo why this dojo is also founded, as what Pak Anuraj has already mentioned, that we are really concerned about the research itself. We want to empower Indonesian researchers, and we also believe that Indonesia has its own visions or ambitions. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, ambitions toward especially to more innovative and globally competitive research itself. So, but of course, we see also some gaps in terms of the educational system in Indonesia. So we want to make also change. As what Panras mentions, we want to have more transformative approach toward educational approach itself. So we found that they might have some limited numbers of activities like experiential learning activities, as well as more on practical learning activities. So that's why through this dojo we bridge the gap from these common types of educational approach to scientific research towards more experiential, immersive learning approach. Next. Yeah. So if you can see here, there are some combinations of approaches within the dojo itself. So you can see as what you can see in the video before, there is called Shinjitsu, so it's the heart of dojo. Shinjitsu means finding the truth, so there are some numbers of activities there as mentioned, like ninja run, ninja obstacles, because we believe that research itself is not always like a straight path. There are always some challenges when you're doing research, so this is actually the reflections of the research itself. And then in addition to that as well, we believe that we need to practice the critical thinking. That's why we also found there is, the debate should be there. That's called what we call by the tournament or debate tournament. And of course, it's not only those kind of practical things, but also we support in terms of research writing skills. So we have the mentoring sessions, which is structured mentoring sessions by the census, as well as we have also to support in terms of submissions in high impact journal, publication, as well as the policy briefs that today we are going to hear at the end of this dissemination event. Next slide. Yeah, so why dojo is different from other methods? There are, of course, some clues that have been mentioned before. So we have these wounded healer activities. So in this type of sessions, you have a chance to share your vulnerabilities, because it's okay to share your weaknesses. You share your challenges to your peer, to your senseis. Even sensei also share their experiences. So this kind of sharing experience, it makes you feel like there's some peers that can support you. And second one is Shinjitsu Ninja. So Shinjitsu Ninja is also important part of the heart of these activities, because you are going to have this, more like exercise your brain. Not only brain, we have this also ninja run. Also, you need to have more stamina as researchers to walk from one place to another, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, we have this Shinjitsu tournament. You debate, meaning you criticize your peer, meaning it's not meaning that they are bad or their research is not good, but because you want to support them to enhance their research, their manuscript, to be better, to reach the highest quality. Next slide. Yeah. So yeah, if you can see here, dojo activities itself. So we have already started since Dojo 1 to Dojo 3, and actually this is a learning process for us, for Summit Institute as well. It's a learning process for co-founders as well from OCRU and GSLab and other institutions. From Dojo 1, it's more on, we emphasizing on establishment of dojo itself. So what is the methodologies, as mentioned by Pa Anu, how the story begins of the dojo. So yeah, it started like that. And then in the second phase, so we work more on strengthening those methods and also to document it into workbook and guidebook. And last but not least, the third dojo, more on scaling up process. Scaling up process means we want these adoptions not only through bootcamp, but also we open any partnership adoptions, not only maybe universities in Indonesia, but we can also expand it to other universities, perhaps later on in UK, Ibu. Yeah, and also maybe in other countries, because we believe that dojo methodology is worth to try. Okay, so yeah, you can see the key achievements highlights here. We have already trained 343 researchers. It's quite a lot. Congratulations to all of us here. And then, and we have already submitted 46 manuscripts until last night, yeah? Last night, so we have already submitted 46 manuscripts, yeah? And we have also collaborations with universities. And last but not least, in this Dojo 3, we would like to also provide more opportunities through online learning. Next. Yeah, so welcome. We also welcome any collaborations from universities to adopt this dojo approach, so we can share more information about that later, as well as to be adopted later on, not only universities in Indonesia or research institutions in Indonesia, but also in other countries. That's all from me, from Summit Institute for Development. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Over to you.
Thank you, Panu. Thank you, Bulia, for the talk and the presentation too. I think I want to highlight how the dojos are born out of are born out of a specific context of the race of AI, which sort of homogenize how we're thinking every time we're trying to use it, and the linking of together of knowledge creation and implementation catalyzed by the pandemic. I think the dojo embodies the nature of science at its core. It's about seeking truth, and therefore there should be healthy debate about it. So constant challenging and dissenting should be the norm moving forward. Bulia also highlight how the dojo are there to empower Indonesian research by bridging the gap of conventional education approach to an immersive learning experience, because we have a lot of unique elements that are not found in like a more conventional teaching methods, including personalized mentoring, creating a safe space without hierarchical structure, and constant challenges that all of the participants here experience, such as Ninja Run and Dojo Shinjutsu tournament. Now we know how the dojo support Indonesian researchers to publish studies, and hopefully, as Bu Dewi mentioned, can have a potential real-world impact. I want to close the presentation section of this talk show by inviting Pak Dimas, by putting this into context of how this fits with the Indonesian health and scientific research landscape and priorities. Pak Dimas, the floor is yours. Pak Dimas' presentation will be delivered in Indonesian, and I'll summarize it later at the end of his presentation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Izin saya menyampaikan dengan bahasa Indonesia. Terima kasih atas kesempatan yang diberikan kepada saya untuk berbagi mengenai arah pengembangan riset kesehatan dan ilmu pengetahuan di bidang kesehatan khususnya. Saya dari Health Policy Agency, Ministry of Health. Kementerian Kesehatan punya banyak satker, dan kebetulan saya di Badan Kebijakan Pembangunan Kesehatan, khususnya di sistem ketahanan kesehatan. Nah, jadi untuk arah riset nasional itu selalu berangkat dari tantangan yang kita hadapi, dan kebetulan Kementerian Kesehatan telah menetapkan 6 tantangan tersebut, yang mana kita masih menghadapi beban penyakit ganda, yaitu penyakit menular yang sepenuhnya belum selesai sejak pandemi COVID-19. Terus selanjutnya penyakit tidak menular yang sekarang mulai meningkat, salah satunya obesitas di dewasa dan anak-anak tentunya, dan kita juga sebentar lagi akan melakukan SSGI, Survei Status Gizi Indonesia, dan Survei Kesehatan Indonesia, yang mungkin nanti datanya bisa dipakai oleh teman-teman semua untuk menghasilkan bukti-bukti ilmiah lainnya. Nah, terus selanjutnya di sisi lain, literasi kesehatan masyarakat itu masih perlu diperkuat. Akses dan kualitas pelayanan kesehatan belum merata, serta munculnya berbagai ancaman baru seperti perubahan iklim, resistensi mikroba, hingga potensi pandemi berikutnya. Nah, tantangan tersebut diperkuat oleh kebutuhan pembiayaan kesehatan tentunya yang lebih efisien, dan pentingnya percepatan inovasi serta pemanfaatan teknologi. Kondisi inilah yang kemudian menjadi dasar penentuan prioritas riset kesehatan nasional agar setiap penelitian benar-benar menjawab kebutuhan pembangunan kesehatan Indonesia. Jadi banyak penelitian memang dilakukan, tetapi melihat karena kita bergerak tergantung pimpinannya ya, jadi tergantung prioritasnya ke arah mana. Kadang sudah dibuat tapi ganti pimpinan berhenti gitu. Nah, akhirnya tidak terpakai. Itu sering terjadi di institusi mana-mana. Mungkin kalau teman-teman yang dari akademisi seperti itu ya. Tapi gapnya seperti ini ya Bu Dewi. Kira-kira seperti itu. Jadi ganti pimpinan, programnya berhenti. Nah, selanjutnya ini mungkin teman-teman bisa lihat bahwa saat ini kesehatan beranjak kepada kesehatan untuk semua. Jadi kita berfokus kepada pengembangan sumber daya manusia unggul untuk tahun 2045. Nah, ini adalah salah satu yang mungkin teman-teman sudah kenal, bahwa kita punya transformasi kesehatan, di mana untuk menjawab visi tersebut Kementerian Kesehatan menetapkan 6 pilar transformasi kesehatan yang menjadi arah utama, termasuk pengembangan riset di Indonesia. Dari layanan primer, layanan rujukan, ketahanan kesehatan, tata kelola dan pembiayaan, penguatan SDM kesehatan, hingga transformasi teknologi kesehatan. Dan salah satunya yang berkembang adalah di genomic, precision medicine atau kedokteran presisi, terus artificial intelligence atau kecerdasan buatan, digital health, big data tadi yang salah satu dibuat oleh Bu Dewi itu salah satu contohnya yang dikembangkan sekarang, dan akan juga terkait kemandirian farmasi dan alat kesehatan. Jadi sekarang didorong untuk produksi dalam negeri. Nah, dengan demikian riset tidak lagi hanya menghasilkan publikasi ilmiah, tetapi harus mampu mendukung transformasi pelayanan kesehatan, mempercepat inovasi, dan meningkatkan kualitas pengambilan keputusan. Selanjutnya, kita punya 41 indicators bagaimana program-program tersebut, dan salah satunya mungkin yang bisa dikembangkan oleh teman-teman. Jadi agar transformasi tersebut dapat diukur secara objektif, kita menetapkan indikator-indikator kinerja yang mencerminkan keberhasilan pembangunan kesehatan. Nah, tidak hanya indikator status kesehatan masyarakat, tetapi juga indikator yang mengukur kualitas layanan, ketahanan sistem kesehatan, termasuk dari pembiayaannya, digitalisasi, termasuk tadi kan kalau dulu tadi kalau disampaikan Bu Dewi, TB itu lewat ini ya klinis, sekarang bisa lewat ponsel. Itu luar biasa. Sekarang masih dikembangkan lebih lanjut. Kemarin baru kami mengadakan Fornas, Forum Nasional TB, untuk mengundang seluruh lintas sektor. Nah, selanjutnya salah satu yang ingin saya sampaikan adalah terkait peta jalan riset implementasi Kementerian Kesehatan. Jadi kita sudah menyusun dari tahun 2023 hingga 2029 kalau tidak berganti pimpinan lagi. Nah, karena itu agak susah ya. Kami juga sebagai staf agak bingung gitu. Tapi inilah kenyataannya yang memang kami hadapi. Tapi bagaimanapun kita menyesuaikan agar program itu terus jalan. Nah, salah satunya mungkin teman-teman bisa lihat kalau di sini kan Genomics ya. Nah, itu bisa masuk ke dalam BGSI. Nah, BGSI juga salah satu program unggulan dari Pak BGS. Nah, ini nanti bisa teman-teman capture, bisa teman-teman baca. Jadi ini adalah transisi jalan penelitian-penelitian kita sampai tahun 2029 di Indonesia, khususnya di bidang kesehatan. Nah, selanjutnya ini adalah terkait kolaborasi, dan salah satu yang kami gandeng adalah pelaku industri kesehatan non-profit atau lembaga swadaya masyarakat baik dari mitra pembangunan internasional maupun di nasional. Jadi salah satunya mungkin nanti bisa submit SID ini mengunjungi BKPK untuk melakukan kerjasama lebih lanjut, itu juga bisa. Selanjutnya ya, mungkin itu saja yang bisa saya sampaikan. Nanti kalau mau ditanya-tanya boleh. Lebih lanjut juga hasilnya diseminasinya sangat bagus. Nanti bisa saya sampaikan kepada pimpinan di kantor. Terima kasih. Kurang lebihnya mohon maaf. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Pak Dimas. I think Pak Dimas have highlighted very. You can take a seat, Pak Dimas. I think Pak Dimas have highlighted several useful framework that we need to acknowledge, we need to realize, and we need to make sure that ideally our studies, publication are also aligned of this framework that includes Indonesia Emas 2045, the 6 pillars of health transformation that the Ministry of Health is currently ongoing, which include genomics and precision medicine. I know this is one of the topics that are quite common in the dojo participants. Also drug discovery, again, another topic that are very common because some of the teams here looking at specific compounds in plants and other organisms, and also the research roadmap to 2029 and synergies to other ministries. So I think those are very useful framework for us to be cognizant of. I do want to switch then toward the talk show part of the session. So my first question is to Julia and Bu Dewi, because a lot of the researchers here are actually early career researchers. My question to you is, what can researchers do from their early stage of their career to increase the likelihood of having a real-world impact and getting fundings or ensuring collaboration for international collaborators too?
Thank you very much for the question. Is it working?
Yeah, this one.
Hello? Yeah. Thank you. So I think it's a very interesting question, and is first of all, I think for researchers, it's very important to understand that they are key in the evidence and the policy for the policymakers, as you mentioned in your presentation. So their role is key because, of course, they question what they read. They want to understand more. They also, as Dojo has been trained to work on, is they challenge others. I think this is really key. And they have to be, and I also like about Dojo that they challenge seniors, they challenge other people, because to me, they have to be ready to challenge policymakers. They have to be ready to challenge healthcare workers. They need to say, I'm not sure what you're saying. Why don't we do a research and why don't we try it? So that's the main thing that I think you need to know. And then you were asking about how to go internationally and also how to get fundings. Again, it's about feeling that researchers are strong and are important, and go and knock at doors and ask for support. But before that, as you mentioned, is you need to understand the needs of the country or the needs of the global health in general. You can't just go with an idea. For example, for Indonesia, you need to understand the 6 pillars of the health transformation strategy or the priorities of the president. You need to, and this is something that, yes, I agree with Anuraj, there are so much information now. Use that information in your favor. Go and look for data. You have the world in data. You have, dreams for data on healthcare workers here. So many information around. Look for it. Understand the needs of the systems, the health systems. Then you can go and look for what to do. And for internationally, I would say don't be shy. I think you were mentioning, for example, drug discovery, or I was just looking at some of the violence as well. So many interesting things. Emails are all over the place. My emails, other embassies' emails, other international researchers. Look for them and ask them, what do you think about that? Just to give you a very quick example, when I was working in Nigeria, a researcher came very, very shy, actually. And she said, you know what? I was checking the hepatitis here in Nigeria, and I can see that there is more prevalence of hepatitis X, but there is no any genomic analysis on that. And I was like, well, why don't you? We looked for, we Googled researchers that have been doing hepatitis C in our countries. I said, email this, and these guys. And then she managed to grab the attention of one, and she did a fantastic paper that was published. So this is really important. Do not be shy and understand how important research is for policymakers. And when I mean policymakers, maybe I just want to add something else that you mentioned. You mentioned the healthcare workers as well. All the chain that you mentioned. The community, look for, you are at the community, understand what the community needs, understand what the doctors need, what they see at the hospital. It's really important. Understand what the policymakers they want to do, and the politics of the country as well. And then you can manipulate the situation and go for your research. So that's the main focus. When it comes to fundings, I know it's hard, but again, the same. Do not be shy, because, for example, universities in the UK, and I'm sure there are other universities as well. I was working in Leuven as well in research. Universities want people to come with research ideas. So again, send emails to universities and say, I have this idea. What do you think? So, and then you might get the fundings. Maybe you can do a dual research from Indonesia and from our countries. From the UK, I can assure you that many universities are very keen on that. So.
Thank you, Julia. I think that's a very powerful tips for us too, right? Don't be afraid to knock on the doors. People do want to fund you, and we have a certain like shyness mindset to it. But as like Prof. Rina mentioned, like 10 grants submitted every year, so you need to knock on 10 doors every year to submit the grants. But I wanted to hear your thoughts further too, especially like for early career researchers. Sometimes they do not know where to start. Bu Dewi, do you have any specific input for that too?
Yes, so I think the first one, as I already highlighted during my presentations, we need to start with the problems, because sometimes the researchers usually start with, I think this is important, I think. But you need to validate the reasons behind it. Is it really a knowledge gap in there? Or even though it is a problem, is it a priority? Because it is a problem, but sometimes that's not a priority. So sometimes the policymaker thinks that it will not affect anything for my programs, let's say. So you can start with not only having the end point of your research in publications extended. At least you need to start with what kind of decisions you would like to change or affect by having this research. So identify the real problem, not something that's just cool. Because, during my experience, I usually work with the information technology team. What they would like to build is something that is cool. But is it needed? Will it solve any problem? Sometimes it doesn't. It's just cool. So if you don't sell something that is needed and priorities, it will be hard to sell. So again, you need to align your research with the current priority programs needed. It can be needed by the communities, it can be needed by the healthcare workers, it can be needed by the government. You need to define who are your audience of this research. And then the second one, I think I agree with you. If you want to improve the chance of, let's say, getting this research funded, having this, that's why I said to Anraj, Bulia and Buyuni, this is very amazing programs, actually. They can learn from each other, and having the network. Sometimes you need to learn from someone who have already failed 100 times. So it's not something that automatically, I will be getting funded just by submitting one proposal. You need to learn from failures. So trust me, it is a long process. You need to sharpen your analytical thinking, how you write and sell your proposals. It is a long journey. It's never an automatic process that instantly making you a very good researcher. So sometimes having this struggling moment, I would like to say, it's a natural process of someone who wants to become a professional researcher. You can start with, okay, I need to define the study design, and then you need to rethink again, does it really work? Because the second problem usually found is, I think this strategy will work, but you never validate your thinking into real life experience. You need to test what the hypothesis that you had in your mind with a real world setting. Sometimes the users can identify, it doesn't work for me, I don't have any internet, it doesn't work for me, my laptop is just, I don't know, the capacity is very low, some things like that. Including when we develop a TBD care, we understand, the mobile phone of the health workers, it can be so high grade and can be very low cost mobile phone, with the quality of the camera varied from one to another. Again, you need to challenge your ideas. I agree with that. So, and understanding that every research have their own strengths and limitations, and we need to be honest about that. Learn to tell honestly about the strengths and limitations of your study, of the research, is very important. And I think the last one, sometimes this research that we produce ended up with statistical data. The next challenge will be translating those data into decisions, recommendations that can be easily understood. Okay, this is the risk factors, this is the prevalence, this is the 95 confidence interval. What does it mean to the policymakers? You need to translate it. It means what you can do is having A, B, C, and D. Clear way. So they can understand it doesn't need to presented all of the numbers in the tables and graphic and line chart that you can, but how can the policymakers, oh, so you mean by having this number, I should do what? This is the list to do that can be done to support this argumentation. This is also very important. So there are some things that everyone can learn, and I believe that becoming a researcher is a long process journey, and everyone having a moment of learning during that process. It's not an instant process. Everyone to need from the journey, and having this network is very helpful to improve your capacity, capabilities, also including the network itself. So maybe that's some additional point that I can share.
Thank you, Bu Dewi. So I think it's important for us to know our audience for the study that we are crafting, both in terms of the priorities that are highlighted from Padimas earlier in terms of the government, but also how we translate by our very scientific, very jargonistic and technical terms to a more appropriate sounding, like the elevator pitch that people might be aware of. I do want to switch then to Bulia and Pak Anu in terms of now the dojo have been in third iteration. What do you think partnership and investment are needed to sustain this to 4.0 and to infinity and beyond, and scale the experiential research training in Indonesia, particularly in collaboration with other international partners, to like open it up at the global level, right?
Yeah.
Why stop only at Indonesia?
Yes, of course, absolutely. This is what we really want. So thank you very much for the question. This is actually, we are still, of course, open for discussions as well for the roadmap for sustainability. One of the things that we have already thought about is to provide like wider access through online platform itself. So we're gonna have this learning management system that you can access whenever and wherever you are. So this is the first one. And also you can experience as well through that platform what is the dojo Shinjitsu Ninja itself. You can do within specific time as well there. And also at the end of the day, you also can experience the debates. You can invite your opponent through the global network. So we have this kind of features, which is later on our colleague or the lead of the dojo can explain more on that. So this is one of them, is platform itself. The second one, of course, the adoptions and collaborations with universities and research institutions. So I think our participants here also most of them are coming from universities. It would be great if we can collaborate further. How you can adopt these dojo methods to your students, for instance. So this is one of the solutions. Another roadmap that we can explore more. We are happy to share these methodologies to your students. This is the second one. And the third one, of course, we want to explore more collaborations with international institutions. So we are happy here to be supported by British Embassy. Thank you, Ms. Julia, and also Ibu Riris here. So perhaps we can think about more activities that we can collaborate between Indonesian researchers and UK. Maybe we can have like debate tournaments, maybe in UK, for instance, so we can invite the winners from Dojo 1 to Dojo 3 to have a debate in university institutions, for instance. And the second one, maybe we can also have this Sensei Academy, for instance, because we want to not only to provide more, insight toward the scientists, but we want to have more senses to come, more qualified senses to transfer knowledge. Maybe Pak Anuraj to add.
No, I would agree with everything that my esteemed colleague Ibu Lia has said. I think that the other interesting thing, so you see the name of this is Genomics and Science Dojo. The first name of it was actually Genomics Science Dojo. But this changed. And why did this change? It changed because actually we realized that we needed to broaden the mission of this, and particularly realizing how important the interdisciplinary aspects of science were. They're bringing together people in different fields, basic science, epidemiologists, machine learning people, social science. So this enabled persons from different fields to work together and discover the actual knowledge paradigms that each was using. And again, enriching the diversity of the experience, and also bringing together judges of different fields. So I think in relation to this scaling, the scaling of this, one of the innovations and important things here is realizing that, in fact, there are many different ways of approaching the same type of problem through different fields. So this interdisciplinary aspect is really important. And in fact, the origin of the dojo, if we look at this, some of the original persons involved in the co-creation process of the dojo, in addition to all the persons who attended and the judges, the referees, and the sensei, this initial group of persons, and it was mentioned, of course, Edward, myself, Ariel Pradipta, Felipe Argolo from Brazil, Daniel Fattori from Brazil. This group was very interdisciplinary in and of itself. So you had myself doing maternal and child health, digital health, nutrition, early childhood development, and basic sciences. You had Felipe Argolo, who was a psychiatrist, who was interested in analysis, data analysis, and he was also a Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner. So he was a martial artist himself. And you had Daniel Fattori, who was, again, from Brazil, a psychologist, also a Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner. So you had these people who were involved in different ideas, combat, psychology, Ariel Pradipta in genomics and so forth, and really coming together and thinking how we can combine all these different ideas into something that is unique, the Genomics and Science Dojo. So I think, and of course our colleagues from the Summit Institute from Development, Uni Setiawati, really emphasizing how this has to be important for the community. This has to be important for health, and really injecting that into it. So I think that the key to the scaling issue and going viral, is this inclusiveness. I think that's a very important thing, and I think this is also a unique thing that Genomics and Science Dojo can bring to the international community, because more and more we see work being siloed. And so I think that Genomics and Science Dojo is sort of helping to address that, both addressing the idea that dissent is important and a normal thing, very important part of science, and also that this interdisciplinary aspect of things is very important. Everyone has something to contribute that is important.
Yeah, thank you. So I think there's much more soon to come in terms of dojo with the LMS that will be launched today, and additional like Sensei Academy, and along with the key features of interdisciplinary collaborations, making sure that dojos also are inclusive. I think that's all. So,
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I think what would be really interesting is anyone who's interested as a Shinjitsu practitioner of going to other countries and participating in tournaments against other opponents from other countries and other professors from all over the world. If you're interested in that, please let us know, because we're ready to arrange those exciting global tournaments. And Edward, as the first global Shinjitsu champion, is here, right? So I think this would be very exciting into making this into a global activity.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, we'll have another dojo session, Dojo Shinsu session later on next year in Oxford, actually. So we'll be replicating some of this experience in University of Oxford too. Last but not least, Pak Dimas, I think you mentioned about the current priorities of the Indonesian government, but can you also identify what kind of barriers that you feel like are most significant right now that the researchers here can help to unblock these barriers in order for us to achieve a proper implementation and a proper research capacity to fulfill the priorities that you have set earlier?
Ya, terima kasih. Tentunya ya, kalau untuk bagaimana cara untuk melakukan, sebetulnya kita nggak kekurangan penelitian gitu. Penelitian banyak sekali yang melakukan. Bahkan perguruan tinggi kita di Indonesia itu paling banyak di antara yang lain di dunia gitu kan. University kita paling banyak. SDM-nya tentu paling banyak. Nah, cuman tadi bagaimana kita menghilangkan tantangan tersebut. Jadi saya juga sama seperti teman-teman di sini kayaknya banyak yang masih muda ya. Eh, saya baru usia 26, 26. Jadi baru bergabung ke Kementerian Kesehatan 1 tahun. Saya juga dulu idealis seperti teman-teman gitu, dengan melakukan semua hal saya lakukan gitu, berbagai penelitian, dan kebetulan saya juga melakukan piloting untuk MBG di pertama sebelum adanya BGN. Sama seperti teman-teman, punya ide dan harapannya bisa dimasukkan, tetapi ternyata ketika kita masukkan ke government, laporan kita, reportingnya, itu kadang nggak diterima karena satu, mungkin tadi kurang paham gitu dari policy maker di dalam. Nah, terus yang kedua, tadi saya juga setuju sama dengan Bu Dewi. Mungkin Bu Dewi pengalaman di ini DTO banyak ya. Jadi kita perlu menyajikan berbagai opsi gitu, dan apa aja yang akan dilakukan secara mudah gitu. Jadi karena di internal baik kementerian, lembaga ataupun lembaga pemerintahan, banyak orang-orang yang tidak pada bidangnya gitu. Tapi memang mereka memiliki capable dalam manajemen SDM-nya gitu. Tapi mungkin dari secara substansi kurang. Nah, disitulah sebenarnya tugas teman-teman gitu. Jadi ketika memberikan hasilnya atau ingin membantu pemerintah masuk dengan ide teman-teman, yaitu mudahkan, salah satunya mungkin nanti outputnya, teman-teman kalau nggak salah outputnya adalah policy brief ya. Nah, itu banyak dipakai di kami, di internal juga kita dipakai. Jadi buatlah sesederhana mungkin. Jadi jangan begitu rumit ya, berbagai dengan metode yang teman-teman lakukan gitu. Kadang di dalam itu mereka hanya ingin hasilnya saja gitu. Ini sepengalaman saya ketika saya berkarir gitu dari berbagai tempat. Eh, dan mungkin saya masih sama seperti teman-teman, masih idealis gitu. Kenapa nggak ini aja gitu? Ini udah banyak dilakukan dan lain-lainnya. Sebenarnya itu mudah dilakukan gitu. Tapi ternyata mungkin mereka dengan berbagai asumsi, berbagai argumen bahwa ini sudah dilakukan, sudah pernah dicoba gitu, namun hasilnya gagal. Tapi mungkin dari situ teman-teman bisa menyampaikan dengan bahasa yang lebih mudah, bahwa hasilnya lebih bagus gitu, dan eh, dan itu bisa dipakai visible gitu. Ya mungkin itu salah satu tantangan ya, bagaimana tantangan atau hambatan, bagaimana kita eh, banyak bukan tidak menerima ya, tapi banyak tidak memakai gitu. Tapi sebenarnya di internal juga kita itu memakai konsultan. Nah, konsultan itu hasil dari para peneliti sebetulnya gitu. Jadi peneliti-peneliti yang bekerja, mereka mengerjakan untuk berbagai program, melakukan evaluasi gitu, atau memberikan ide-ide baru lewat situ gitu. Sebetulnya itu juga dipakai, tapi ketika nyampe atas mungkin karena ribet atau lainnya ditolak lah gitu. Jadi tantangan yang sebenarnya yang itu gitu. Jadi sebenarnya ide itu banyak, mungkin teman-teman publikasi juga banyak. Bahkan sekarang kan kami juga baru bekerja sama Lancet, kemarin baru di launching. Nah, itu banyak terpublikasi tapi memang tidak diterapkan gitu. Itu yang sangat disayangkan, dan baru-baru ini kami melakukan implementasi Mas. Jadi hasil dari penelitian itu dalam bentuk aplikasi namanya Screen Edge untuk aplikasi pendengaran. Nah, itu hasil dari penelitian dari Unpad, tapi ketika mau diproses itu dibatalkan gitu karena tidak visible, dan di yang lebih tinggi itu tidak paham gitu dengan prosesnya. Nah, makanya mungkin teman-teman ya itu dengan yang sudah dilakukan, buatlah sesederhana mungkin agar bisa dipahami oleh orang awam gitu. Jadi hasil yang teman-teman itu mungkin bisa terpakai dan dirujuk. Itu aja sih.
Thank you very much for the tips. Yeah, I think that's a very important one. Like one of the barriers from our study is that sometimes it gets lost, right? Like the translation isn't working from what you write in a manuscript published in a journal to what you are conveying to the policymaker and the community. As Dimas mentioned, it's important we simplify the responsibility to let the audience understand our research is on us as the researchers, not on them to understand our study. So as Dimas mentioned, in terms of policy brief, which we'll hear, 3 of the teams here will be presenting their policy brief. It's important that you give the policymakers options to choose, right? It's important you don't drown them with, p-value, etc., but make sure that what are the impacts and what are things that are relevant for the policymakers and the community. Thank you. I do wanted to open up to discussion towards the participants here too. So does anyone have any question at all to our expert panelists on this case? Any questions from the people here? If there's someone want to raise their hand.
So because this is the Genomics and Science Dojo, you have to have a question.
The first one. Okay. Well, it may not be really a question, but probably a comment. There are 2 things. One is about the sensei itself, and also the second one is about the effect size. When it comes to junior researcher, don't forget you need to have a good mentor. So if anybody wants to take out of this dojo, never forget the importance of a mentor, because a mentor can tell you what is the landscape. The problem with the young early researcher, they're too ambitious, but they don't understand the difficulty. I mean, they need some feedback, right? And unfortunately, in Indonesia, also the question is, we don't have actually an established researcher to be our mentor. And never forget, when it comes to publication, editors are not immune to certain big names. So if you want to really build a career in a good research, find a good research group, because you can learn, okay, what to think, what not to think, what will be feasible, what not to be feasible. That's one thing that we have to work on, how to find a good mentor. The second one is, when it comes to policy, make sure you don't focus on p-values. You can have a very good p-values, very significant, but when it comes to policy, they're going to look for impact. When it comes to impact, they want to look at effect size. So one of the session in the dojo, I give a very brief note to the participants, because I noticed they always drill on this p-value. If it's a p-value is not significant, it seems to be useless. That's not the case. Always focus on what kind of impact you want. And if apparently it's not significant, maybe your sample size is not there yet. So don't get discouraged if your initial research is not really meaningful, but you have to focus on what is the impact on your study. I think that's probably not really a question, but probably a comment, and hopefully it can be improved for the next one. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Muhammad. I think that's again like a very nice reminders for us researchers, especially in the room, but also for policymakers and other stakeholders too. Any other comments? Oh, there's one there. Or questions, comments or questions are welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Romy. I'm also a participant for Dojo 3.0. First of all, I would like to thank all the committee and the sponsor that has made this event possible, because I'm from a small place in Indonesia, in Pontianak, especially in West Kalimantan. So this event has been very, very excellent time for me to expand my knowledge and my lecturers' knowledge in research, and we meet a lot of great researchers today. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for that. And my question is, as a pharmacist and lecturer myself, sometimes we are confined into some research types that we cannot go away or choose away from. So we are not free to do we are actually free to do as many research as possible, but as a lecturer, you need to do linear research in order to further your careers also. So if that's the case, then when the Ministry of Health has standards or have goals for the next 5 years or so, how do we as lecturers and researchers cope with that? So do we need to follow their research goal, or we keep going forward as we are? Because yesterday from the census also said that you need to have a long-time goal. If we have that long-time goal and then we just release that long-time goal to pursue this short-time goal, and then our career will not proceed clearly. That's all my question. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think that's a very good one. Anyone wanna respond to this?
Hi, thank you very much for the question. Very good question, actually, and I think very important. This is from my experience. I would say there are two ways. One is, of course, sometimes you have to follow, as we say, the research goal, because the idea is for the people who work at the Ministry of Health to know what are the needs of the population. But at the same time, you need to challenge, and you learned here, and I said that before, you need to challenge those who are doing policies and say, I'm not sure about that. Can we go back? And I have this idea. If you have a good argument and based on evidence, telling the person or the group, this is it good, it's important, but also I think this is another priority that you mentioned. So I think it's at some stage, yes, sometimes you have to follow what they want, because we trust them that they know what is important for the country, but as well, you need to be open and ready to challenge them. And when you challenge them, you have to challenge them with evidence, with your scientific brain. So I don't know if that answered the question.
Thank you, Julia. Anyone wanna further add? Bu Dewi, Pak Anu, Bu Lea, or Pak Dimas?
Yeah, so I think this idea of having a short-term goal, long-term goal, a line of research that you're doing, I think that is very important. And this comment I was making earlier about also this interdisciplinary approaches to things is extremely important. And so one of the things that you should always try to do is think about, well, what are the paradigms, the core paradigms you learned in your field? Really what the origin and history of those actually is. And very often you'll find that the scientific basis for those paradigms is not as solid as maybe you were originally instructed about. So it's good to think about what are the foundations of the field that can be challenged and how you can create something new in that. And so I would always be in the habit, as mentioned, of thinking, if there's a current paradigm, a certain way of thinking, how can that be challenged? Is that really correct? Both short-term and long-term. I think the most important thing, however, is focusing on doing very good quality science. So whatever you publish is robust. Whatever you're doing is robust work, meaning that it's of high quality. And so then it is a contribution to the knowledge that is the stepping stone for yourself and thousands of other people. So that's what I would suggest. And of course, the key thing in doing research is being an independent scientist, is having great ideas and having funding to do those ideas. So never forget to be able to write good grant proposals. I think someone else mentioned, and submitting lots of grant proposals, because your success rate may not be 100%. So same thing, you increase your success rate by diversity. Yeah, that would be my advice to you. Very good question.
Thank you. If there's no more question, I'm gonna wrap up the session because we're running out of the time too. I do have one final concluding questions for all of the speakers here. So looking ahead, what is one priority or investment or collaboration that Indonesia should pursue to strengthen its biomedical research ecosystem? I think we can go starting from Parimas over there.
Untuk penguatannya ya, baik. Jadi kalau dari saya perspektif dari stakeholder pemangku kepentingan atau pengambil keputusan, penguatannya adalah di bagaimana teman-teman mengadvokasi gitu. Jadi seperti kegiatan ini terkait diseminasi kan teman-teman punya hasil ya. Nah itu nanti kami tangkap. Jadi diseminasi itulah yang akan kami tindak lanjuti gitu. Jadi sebetulnya tidak hanya top down ya dari kami terus di bawah terus diteruskan gitu. Tapi kita juga menangkap. Nah harapannya penguatan-penguatan yang seperti itu gitu. Jadi seperti mentoring SDM-nya yang dilakukan sekarang. Kan ini memperkuat SDM-SDM teman-teman yang akan mungkin berminat ke depannya menjadi peneliti gitu atau researcher ya. Jadi yang ini yang kita perlukan. Nanti setelah itu tentunya kan perlu ada penguatan infrastrukturnya atau dukungan-dukungan lainnya termasuk dari segi anggarannya gitu atau alat-alatnya terus medianya atau jejaringnya gitu. Misalnya kalau teman-teman yang punya tadi misalnya hilirisasi atau hilirisasi produk, teman-teman punya hasil penelitian seperti produk obat ataupun lainnya kan itu perlu ke industri ya. Jadi pemerintah bisa menjembatani hal itu gitu. Jadi banyak hal yang bisa dilakukan tadi termasuk dari penguatan kapasitas SDM-nya, terus penyediaan alat infrastrukturnya lainnya gitu. Nah itu yang bisa kami support mungkin. Tapi memang idenya dari teman-teman ini nanti masukan-masukan masalah-masalah di populasi masyarakat. Nah itu yang kita tangkap. Mungkin seperti itu Mas. Jadi kita istilahnya saling berkolaborasi ya. Dari teman-teman seperti apa nanti kita tangkap, kita terjemahkan gitu. Nanti apa-apa yang perlu dilakukan itulah yang kita support gitu.
Thank you very much. Aril, go ahead.
So you said one thing, right? So of course that one thing would be everyone practicing in the Genomics and Science Dojo. That's what I would say. But along with that, essentially, I think the essential components are, practicing critical thinking and open debate, very important, and certainly much greater financial investment in supporting the scientific community here.
Thank you, Bueno.
Yeah. So from my side, so what should we invest? Actually, one thing is more on bottom-up or participatory research, because how can we solve the problems in the community if it doesn't come from the community itself? So this is the most important thing. So I need to invest. Yeah. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the things is also for the government to look on the value for money on investing in biomedical scientists. I think it's something very important that is not done yet, in my opinion. We have nurses, doctors, midwives, they know the value of it. They do need to understand the value of biomedical scientists in the system as well. Thank you.
I think additional point from me will be highlighting the needs of collaborations, of course, across sectors. And I agree with working interdisciplinary with multidisciplines. It will open a lot of things. We can create or generating evidence coming from multidisciplinaries institutions, let's say, or knowledge background and so on. It will enrich your findings, and ultimately it can also affecting the output that you would like to have from the research. So having multidisciplinary collaborations is also very important.
Thank you for that remarks. That concludes the first dissemination session. I think we can end the session. I'll give the mic back to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Edward, and all the speakers for the insightful session. As a token for our appreciation, we will now proceed with the presentation of placards to our distinguished panelists. For the speakers, you may come to this stage in the front, as well as Dr. Edward as well. And may I invite the CEO of Summit Institute for Development, Ibu Yuni Dwi Setiawati, to the stage to present the placards. Thank you, Bu Dewi. Thank you so much, Bu Professor Dewi Nur Aisyah. The next one will be Julia Takahashi. Thank you so much. The next one will be Bulia Rosida. Thank you so much. Everyone, please give it applause. The next one will be Dr. Anurag Shankar from Dojo Creators and Senseis. Thank you very much. The next one will be Bapak Damas Pratista, STRGZ MKM. Thank you so much, Pak Damas. The last but not least, this is the best moderator NCC, Dr. Edward Sutanto. Thank you so much, Dr. Edward. Please remain on the stage because there will be photo session. Please. That's it. Please all participants to stand up because there will be another photo session.
Stand up, everyone in the back.
Dojo pose. Do you still remember? Yeah. Maybe we can start practicing first.
So when I say Genomic and Science Dojo 3.0, you say strike with arguments, defend your idea. Do we need a practice session, everyone? Or everyone got it? One practice session, one more practice session. We need to be loud, okay? Okay, so when I say Genomic Science Dojo 3.0, with arguments, defend your idea. Great. Oh, that's it? I thought it was practice. Okay, do you need one more? That's fine. Okay, one more. Sorry, that was practice session, everyone. Okay, are you ready? This is the final, yeah. Genomic and Science Dojo 3.0. Strike with arguments, defend your idea. Woo!
Thank you so much, everyone. You may sit down right now. You may sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to our second dissemination session. In this session, we will hear presentations from 3 selected participants who present their policy brief developed through the Genomics and Science Dojo 3.0. Following each presentation, our panelists will provide valuable feedback and recommendation as well. To lead this session, please welcome for our very special moderator, Dr. Edward Sutanto. Dr. Edward, time is yours.
Oh, I thought there's a coffee break. Okay. Anyway, so we have 3 teams that have submitted their policy brief yesterday. The sensei have judged this team blindly. So they don't review the team that they coach. They only review the teams that the other sensei coach. And we have selected the 3 teams that are having the highest score, and they'll be presenting it for today. The first team is DOO12, Strengthening Drug Development Through Integrated Bioinformatics Evidence, a complementary approach to experimental research. I'll call upon Pa Alpha and Bu Junisa to the front. Second team is DOO4, starting before the first day pre-pregnancy protein energy supplementation for newborn outcomes. I call upon, can you go back a slide? Yeah. I call upon Dr. Rizka and Bu Mai Ditania. You can go up front. And lastly, I'll call upon DOO15, strengthening the standardization of supporting forensic examination for sexual assault survivors in Indonesia, bridging regulatory, institutional, and implementation gap in medical legal service. Dr. Stefan and Dr. Lugita. I think all of the team can go up front now. Yep. And all of you can sit here. It's a good time for us to showcase you to the minister, to the other stakeholders too. We'll go this one by one. I know there's only one that will be present, so you probably should know who's gonna be presenting your slides. You can sit down. It's okay. So the way we do this is that after each team is presenting, I'll open the floor if there's any questions about your study. The first is DOO4, I think. Oh, sorry, DOO12. Which one of you will be presenting? Mujin sir? Yeah, go ahead. Checkpoint operator, are you ready? Yeah? You have 5 minutes, okay?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Yuniza Firdaus Parningtyas. I come from Universitas Mula Warman. My team is Alpha from INMIO. We would like to present the strengthening drug development through integrated bioinformatics evidence, a complementary approach to experiment research from our research before. Next. Oh, sorry. Okay. Actually, right now, we know that our drug development pipeline treats computational analysis and experimental validation as separated tracks. The wet labs test is specific hypothesis or empirical in isolation. So they rarely ask, does the candidate bind only to its intended target? Could it be affecting other proteins we haven't screened for? And are there biological pathways being disrupted that we don't even know to look for? So the root problems, actually, the experimental validation still remain essential, actually, but the conventional methods have the limitation to the gaps to give the evidence between promising candidate and a safe effectivity therapy. And the third is the early off target and toxicity risks may be overlooked. Next. Okay. The matters is every year the promising drug candidates actually collapse at the most expensive stage development. But after the significant time and money have already been invested. Why? Because the conventional wet lab experiments, while still essential, but it's not designed to catch every biological risk early. So the test, what we already suspect, the primary target maybe, often miss the side effect, the toxicity, and the unintended interaction hiding with the wider biological system. So we have the many herbal drug candidates fail in the late stage development. The safety and efficacy issue still often identified too late, and then the target focused approach may overlook off-target effects. And we are proposing today is not a new direction, actually. We have Undang-Undang Nomor 17 Tahun 2023 about kesehatan, explicitly mandates pharmaceutical and medical device resilience as one of its own chapters, calling for stronger research, development, and independence in our pharmaceutical industry. It is next practical step aside a direction this government already committed. So our supplementary methods regulation, we propose not to replace the experimental research. It never can be, and it never should be, but our purpose is to technical guidelines, to make the technical guideline issue formally integrate the bioinformatics as the complementary evidence generator layer and alongside wet lab validation. So we can because of the high developmental cost issue, the late stage drug failure, hidden off target effects, limited biological coverage. So we propose to the technical guidance issue about bioinformatics approach. And concretely, this means establishing a standard where every drug candidate is screened computationally for target specificity, off-target interaction, pathway involvement, and molecular stability, especially. So we can predict the toxicity and also the pharmacokinetic profile, which one of the most important in the drug development. This is not about adding the bureaucracy, but turns as existing best practice into a binding standard that the requirement no longer depends on the which researcher or institution happens to know it, but become consistent checkpoint across the whole in national drug development. So we recommend to integrate the bioinformatics account for every regulatory. We welcome to input or correction, any input and correction, and we're ready to work together to develop it further. Thank you.
Thank you, Team DOO4, right? Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the presentation. Nice work. I know all of the teams here have done a lot of work, you know, submitting a manuscript and generating policy brief in a very short amount of time. I do want to open the floor if there's any questions at all. Go ahead to the presentation just now.
All right, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Afif Ranazati. First of all, I would like to thank to the organizer for the invitation because I'm coming here as an invited guest. So I'm a lecturer at the Department of Biochemistry, IPB University, and working on like bioinformatics and something about genomics as well. So I'm really excited to ask. Yeah. For the first team, I may not talking about like the policy or something like that, but I just want to ask or start some discussion in the basic science, especially of the bioinformatics. Sometimes I found like the challenge with the bioinformatics study, like in silico study, everything. We use a lot of things, but then we got trapped in distinguishing correlation and causality. So, in your opinion, how can we distinguish these two? Because, in my opinion, we sometimes got trapped when we do some bioinformatics stuff, and then we found something interesting, and actually it was only correlation, but not the the real causality or the causal agents. I would say something like that. That's why I've seen in the presentation like many herbal candidates is not able to like reach to the end of the validation. So that's why my question is like that. So just want to know, in your opinion, how can we distinguish between correlation and also causality? Thank you so much.
Thank you for the questions. The O for team, you want to answer? Like a Shinjutsu tournament, right? Go ahead.
Thank you for the question, but we want to clarify one thing, that this is just a supplementary, but it's not just. But we still need a wet lab here. That the supplementary just for to help, yeah, to more understand about the correlation to another subjects. But we still need a project, right? Like to enhance the productive and the efficient of our project. So the bioinformatics itself, it's used to clarify another study that cannot be explored only the wet lab.
I think anything you want to add?
There's any additional?
So I think you're saying that in terms of the correlation versus the causation, bioinformatics act only as a complementary, but also at the same time still are not definitive. So it still needs additional checks. At least you can screen an earlier compounds that are not candidate, and therefore they don't need to go to like a phase C trial that are very expensive. Yep. Okay. Anyone have any further questions on this? Yep. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting. Just this is being submitted as maybe for the recommendations. Just a comment. I think they are very important, but is what we were talking during the discussions. I think it will be more important to make sure that you think about your audience when you mention the recommendations. You are really good about thinking about. I'm thinking if you want to go to the Ministry of Health, it has to be very strong, because I don't want to offend. They don't understand about bioinformatics because they are in a different. So you need to let them know even more about how much you save in money if you have more bioinformaticians, because I get you and I agree with you. We need more bioinformaticians. How much you can develop, how easier you can develop your industry, your pharmaceutical industry, which is one of the priorities for the health transformation, with having more bioinformaticians. So I just recommend, just make these recommendations very strong. So to capture them, because you capture us because we know about bioinformatics, but you need to capture those who take decisions. Sorry.
Thank you. Again, you want to start with a hook, you know? Did you know we spend 3 billion rupiah every year just to do this? Then, as Julia mentioned, it's important you add up values because that's how you translate to the policymakers. But I think I'll wrap this up for the first team. Thank you very much. Very nice showcase. This is also an extension of their research. The primary research that they submit to a journal was actually more like a study about like a specific compound. So these are like sort of a natural extension of their research actually in terms of their policy brief. I'll call upon the second team. Yeah, on Dr. Rizka or Bu Mainditina? Yeah, Dr. Rizka, go ahead.
Okay, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to share our knowledge. So today, I want to invite you to think differently about one of the most important concepts in maternal and child health, the first 1,000 days of life. What if the critical window of opportunity actually begins before day one? Because every year, many children begin life at nutritional disadvantage, perhaps because maternal nutrition interventions often start only after the pregnancy is recognized. This raises a simple, important question. Are we intervening too late? Okay. So we already know that maternal undernutrition remains a major barrier to achieve Indonesia's national target for stunting reduction. And also, maternal nutrition reserves established before conception and adequate energy protein intake during pregnancy are also fundamental determinants for infant growth. Yet in routine practice, most of nutrition intervention begin only after pregnancy is confirmed, around 9 to 12 weeks. This is the period when the pregnancy miscarriage risk is at its highest. And also, by then, many critical biological process have already been begun, including oocyte development, implantation, placental formation, and also organogenesis, starting at the early pregnancy. So, initiating nutritional supplementation only after pregnancy may be too late to influence critical biological process. Next. Unfortunately, another challenge remains. Although Indonesia has maternal nutrition policies expanding on multiple micronutrient supplementation, but MMS or multiple micronutrients address micronutrient deficiencies, and reported compliance is relatively low, and also it does not provide additional energy and protein required by women experiencing chronic energy deficiency. So energy protein supplement remains important, but when should we provide them? So we already try to answer this question by conducting a systematic review and meta-analysis on 20 studies RCT, and our finding revealed a pattern that compare with later initiation preconception balanced energy protein supplementation resulted in the greatest improvement in birth length and also the largest improvement in infant length for age Z-score. You can see the slope of the graph. So next, based on this finding, we propose a simple 4-step policy framework to optimize maternal nutrition before pregnancy. The first one is identify. So we should screen women of reproductive age to identify those who has chronic energy deficiency or inadequate dietary energy protein intake. And the second one, we should intervene and we should provide balanced energy protein for them, for those who nutritionally vulnerable women. And so the BEP supplementation should be the complement, not to replace existing multiple micronutrient supplementation, but just to complement and to strengthening these interventions. And the third one, we should evaluate, we should monitor continuously the maternal nutritional status, the supplement adherence, the pregnancy outcome, the infant growth, to continuously improve policy in this field. And the fourth one, we should continue. So nutrition support should not stop when pregnancy is confirmed. So the continued care should continue seamlessly from the preconception and throughout the pregnancy, and also after the mother has delivered the baby. Okay, so I would like to conclude with one final thought. Maybe if we truly want to optimize the first 1,000 days, perhaps we need to start before the first day. Thank you.
Thank you for the nice presentations. I'll open it up for discussions. If anyone have a specific questions or comments to the presentation just now, it's very good. Anyone?
Yeah, just imagine I'm the governor of West Nusa Tenggara Barat. I think stunting issue is still remaining a concern. So from your recommendation, I would say what one recommendation that you could do to inform the government. I think now they trying to also improve the workforce capacity, and you mentioned that primary care need to be improved, but what specific of frontline workers that you would like to improve in the capacity to identify whatever you mentioned for recommendation you presented earlier?
To strengthening the first line, I think the Puskesmas have a big role in here, and we want them to have to strengthen their active screening to the women in reproductive age. That is in especially in vulnerable population. So by increasing the number of screening, we can actually prevent and also intervene the chronic energy protein deficiencies early, before the pregnancy even began.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, couple more questions.
Yeah, just additional questions. When I look at the slide, let's say at the recommendation slide, I would like to say, okay, I agree with the recommendations and I know it is important, but I think the findings supposed to highlight it more about the compliance, because it started with the low compliance in existing studies, and you confirm that those who can comply in earlier stage will have a better outcome, let's say. Do you also assess any factors associated with the compliance? That's the first questions, because it will affecting the recommendations going through the policymakers. The second one, so when you are writing the policy brief, how would you like to suggest to improve the compliance among the pregnant women, let's say? The second slide, just a minor comment, is there are so many acronyms that might not be understood by the policymakers. You need to work on that. What is Z-score? What does it mean? I can understand because my background is health, but for the policymakers, you need to translate it into more simpler way to explain. So maybe that's for me.
You can respond first. Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah. Thank you, Ibu Dwi, for very valuable input. So yeah, for the first one about the compliance, actually in how in our study, in our meta-analysis and systematic review, we did some risk of bias assessment. So yeah, in that assessment, we also try to include study that have good quality, including the compliance of their interventions to the subjects. So all of the study we included to our systematic review is all of them has a good quality of study, and the compliance rate is quite high, more than 78% of the compliance. But we didn't put this in this presentation, and that's an input. And also our suggestion to increase the compliance to the pregnant mother. So we learned that balanced energy protein has many forms. So it can be ready to use a food supplementation, or it can be lipid-based nutrient supplementation, or yeah, that can be many forms. Like I think.
Thank you. One final question. Oh, two final questions.
Yeah, I think that I would agree with what Ibu Dewi was saying, that you want to be able to emphasize that, yes, this compliance, that they're likely to do this in a programmatic context. Those systematic reviews, I think, were predominantly from intervention trials. So you need to give some indication of what you would expect to achieve and how could you get success, in fact, in a programmatic context. The other thing that I wanted to raise was around some of the key things that are really register and are understandable in the mind of people as far as health outcomes are concerned. So stunting, of course, in Indonesia is very important. The other very important thing is congenital birth defects. So these malformations, particularly heart malformations, other problems that create a huge burden for the child and the family, of course. And so I think highlighting those, what this role of earlier intervention could have on that is very, very important. And then the other thing is just, again, what are the programs, what are other preconception or periconceptual interventions that have been successful and have had a big impact? Like, for instance, folic acid supplementation or food fortification, right? So those show that this is feasible. We can do this, and we've had other preconception or periconceptual interventions globally that have had a big impact. So those would be, I think, the other compelling arguments that you could make in this kind of a policy brief. Yeah. But before you respond, let me turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Leah.
Okay, thank you so much. So I just want to ask, if I were the government, maybe let's say, okay, I agree with your proposed policy brief, which is I will provide this MMS for the mothers, for instance. Now, how could you make sure that the provisions of MMS, that I will give you the funding for it, so the compliance is going higher? Because now it's difficult also to, for the mothers also maybe to have like regularly consume it. So how do you think, who will be responsible for educating them? So what are the solutions for to make higher compliance on it? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the comments, feedbacks, and questions. You want to answer?
Okay. Thank you for the input from Bu Lia. Actually, I want to try to answer and give the response. So basically, regarding the MMS supplementation into the pregnancy woman, yeah, as far as I know from my experience in public health centers in Jakarta, actually I'm also trying to ask the ibu hamil that going through the puskesmas, and I'm also asking the nutrition assessment regarding what they eat and what they consume regarding the supplementation, and some of them also telling me that we have the supplement such as EVA supplementation, or some of them get the MMS, but the critical point they also say that when they consume that they get the nausea, mual, yeah. So they didn't going to consume them again. So maybe if we can give the suggestion, yeah, to them, is they some of the public health center or nakes, they also ensure the pregnant woman to consume them, and also observe by the WhatsApp, and because all of the pregnant women are also compiling the number of them. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question too. That's the end for the second team, and we have last but not least the last team to present their policy brief based on their research. Dr. Stefan or Dr. Lugita? Yeah, you can go up front. The slides ready? Okay. I think you can start if you want to start. Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lugita Rintasari Devi. I'm pleased to present our policy brief from our team about the strengthening the standardization of supporting forensic examination for sexual assault survivor in Indonesia, bridging regulatory, institutional, and implementation gap in medical legal service. Next. So let's thinking more deeply. What is matter? Because the sexual violence is not only about a criminal justice issue, but also a public health and human right concern. So supporting forensic examinations play a crucial role here in preserving biological evidence, supporting medical legal documentations, and ensuring the survivor receive a comprehensive and survivor-centered care. So we are going to the problem descriptions. The policy brief here was developed using the evidence from our retrospective study involving 88 sexual assault survivors, combined with the policy analysis in existing Indonesia regulation and international best practice. So if we see the current situations, that this finding is particularly concerning because Indonesia already has a comprehensive legal framework. But only if you see that only 14.8% of sexual assault survivors underwent supporting forensic examinations. And we need to note that 85.2% did not receive this examination. So in here, we can find this regulatory gap. For example, in the law number 12, 2022, that state-owned sexual violence crimes guarantee survivor rights through the several important provisions that in Article 1.16 that guarantee survivor right to protections, assistance, and recovery. However, there is no national operational standard that translates this right into standardization supporting forensic examinations across the healthcare facilities. And the other articles, like another articles 1.80 about the establish the state's responsibility, and in the other article, in Article 1.21, provides the victim assistance fund, but not yet operating the financing mechanism exists. And this, the other regulatory gap we can see in the law number 70 2023. This is very crucial that if we see this this regulatory gap, no national operation standards, so resulting in consistent implementation across healthcare facility. So next slide. So we found another problem here is institutional gap, that in institutional gap, weak of collaboration among hospital, forensic laboratories, and law of informants. But in international model, there is another saying SAR or SAK demonstrate the benefit of standard multidisciplinary care. And the last one is about the implementation gap. If we see that just only 45% survivor presents wait 24 hours, that's optimal window for evidence collections. So in this data, we can find that 69.2% examined survivor had a positive sperm to detection, and this highlight the value of timely supporting forensic examination. So what does it mean? It's we going to the recommendation in the next slide. Okay, the first one, based on this finding, we propose the 3 policy recommendations. The first training is implementation of existing legal framework. Rather than the introducing new legislation, we just recommend to improving the implementation of existing regulations, strengthening the Ministry of Health policy. And then there is the priority action. The first one is strengthen the implementation of existing ministry legislation, improve the documentation and chain of custody compliance, and the conduct regulatory monitoring and quality audits. And the second recommendation is strengthen intersectoral coordinations. And the last one, the best recommendations we can conclude in this policy brief is establish a national standard for supporting forensic examination, and the 7 core components. The first one in the examination indications, biological specimen collections, and evidence collection timeframes, and etc. And the last but not least, I want to say in the conclusions that our finding demonstrate that Indonesia has already strong legal foundations, but however, these regulations mainly define legal rights and policy objectives without providing detailed operation standard for supporting forensic examinations. So therefore, their next priority is not creating new laws, but strengthening the implementations of existing regulations through a national standard for supporting forensic examinations, support by strong intersectoral collaborations. By doing so, we can ensure the timely, equitable, high quality, and survivor-centered medical legal services across the Indonesia. Thank you so much.
For the presentation and that you presented. I'll open it up for questions. Anyone want to have questions or comments to the presentation just now? Oh yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Again, the 3 presentations were really good. Thank you for that. Maybe just a suggestion, I think the recommendations are really good. I like them. But the why does it matter? Again, if it's for showing it to someone who is going to be making a policy, I think you need to, again, can we go to the slide, or I don't know?
Yeah, we can. Can you pull up the slide?
But anyway, in the meantime, my message is like you need to grab their attention. So in the the why matters. I think it's
one more slide. Yes.
So yeah, ensure timely, high quality medical legal services, preserve biological evidence, support criminal justice. you need to understand that those that are making policies have so many priorities. Of course, this is super important, but you need to compete against a lot of priorities like undernutrition, infections, tuberculosis, HIV, whatever. And I think it's important to make it impactful. So I would say, try to look again, as I mentioned before, try to look the kind of political and the priorities impact. Like, why is it matter? How much money you save, or how many people of those that are not being tested will, for example, have a sexual transmitted infections, how they are going to be affected mentally. So show, and if they have a STI, so what is the consequence of it? How much money the government will have to spend on this treatment? So, you know, almost a value for money as well. It's just my suggestion, just to make it impactful, because the rest is good, but it just make it grab their attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Jess, my questions will be, who do you think the most suitable audience for this policy brief? That's the first questions. Because I think this study, it's supposed to be a cross-sectoral programs. When I look at it, it's not only about Ministry of Health or coming from the hospitals, Kemenkopol, Hukampolri, whatever you can mention. I think a lot of things, but you need to maybe before you decide it, who should be the one you are pitching this policy brief, you need to have a stakeholder matrix who have the high interest and high power to change this, because based on that matrix, you have decisions. It will be my main priority. It's supposed to be led by institutions, let's say. And then when you are pitching, and you need to think when you are in their shoes, it will cost a lot of money. That's the first thing. So you need to, again, explaining about the risks and benefits when this thing is happening. And the third one, you can bring in some examples, best practices, maybe coming from other countries. When we are doing this, we will improve this X, this X, this X. So you can compare and then providing the best practice that has already implemented and what will change. And this is the investment that you have. But don't worry, this investment will return by having this impact, A, B, C, D, and E. And it's very important, again, to decide who will lead the changes when you are giving this policy brief. So maybe that's one note from me for this.
Yeah, I think all those are really good points. And I also wanted to mention that your recommendation to strengthen, your recommendation says, if you go to the next slide, that's not the next slide. I like that slide, but that's not the next slide. Yeah, so anyway, you had a recommendation that mentioned to strengthen various things. So I think that's too general. Strengthen implementation, improve documentation, good ideas, but I think in this case, better to have very specific recommendations based on the implementation gaps that you observed in this. You know, this is what, and yeah, specific things that need to be improved. I think that would help, because otherwise it's just, you know, too general. But otherwise, very important topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the feedback. Any specific response that you wanted to make too?
Thank you. Maybe I will respond first for Ibu Dewi. Who is the target an audience about our policy brief? Maybe I think the first one, the target for our policy brief is came by our collegium that have any patients about the sexual assault, and they need to know there is a problem when to treat or to rehabilitate the sexual assault survivor. So after the collegium know about these problems, they can step forward to the maybe Ministry of Health. But before going that, there is more stakeholders before doing one step there. There is a police, there is a justice, and a judicial personnel, another and another. And so we need to socialize about what we want to make it clear about the about the regulations. I think, like in the articles 16th on law number 12, like I said before, that it must be clear who is how they can assurance the victims, what the step of them like this. Maybe like make a standard operational procedure.
Yep. Thank you. Any further response?
Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu semua. Saya izinkan menambahkan dengan bahasa Indonesia. Jadi regulasi tentang sexual assault kriminal sebenarnya pada dasarnya di Undang-Undang Konstitusional Regulation 1945 Undang-Undang itu sudah membahas tentang pada pasal 28 setiap orang berhak atas pelayanan kesehatan. 3919 tentang HAM sudah membahas bahwa setiap orang berhak untuk mendapatkan pelayanan kesehatan juga. Kemudian pada KUHAP terbaru 20 2025 pada pasal 52 di situ juga dijelaskan bahwa segala biaya yang dikeluarkan dalam proses penyidikan itu akan dibebankan oleh negara. Dan di 17 2023 juga dijelaskan setiap pasien berhak atas pelayanan kesehatan. Kemudian di KMK 1226 tahun 2009 di situ juga dijelaskan bahwa segala biaya yang diperlukan melalui APBN, APBD, kemudian jaminan kesehatan. Yang mana memang jaminan kesehatan itu sudah dirubah pada tahun 2024 itu di Perpres tentang BPJS itu sudah dirubah, yang artinya memang ada perubahan yang tidak pasti tentang pembiayaan pada korban sexual assault ini, yang mana memang ini menjadi ketimpangan. Ketika pasien datang, tentunya kita dokter hanya memiliki kompetensi untuk melakukan pemeriksaan. Namun pada pasien tidak ada dana, pembuktian tidak pidana pada kasus forensik ini tidak bisa dijalankan. Sedangkan bagaimana hak pasien untuk memperoleh keadilan? Kemudian pada dasarnya pemeriksaan ini harus dilakukan dengan penulisan penunjang sehingga proses peradilan pada korban itu dapat ditegakkan seperti itu. Baik, terima kasih.
Thank you for the information and response. I think that's it for the last team too. Thank you very much for your team, for your work, extra additional work to submit policy brief and present. Hope this has been a very useful lesson for you and also very insightful to give you a flavor what kind of research that the team in the dojo have attended and actually have submitted to the journal itself. So thank you. I think there's a bit of ceremonial session after this. So yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as a token for our appreciation, we'll now proceed with the presentation of certificates to our best speakers. So, may I kindly invite the health advisor and head of health from British Embassy, Jakarta, Bu Julia Takahashi Robertson, please come to the stage, as well as the speakers, please come to the stage as well. Thank you so much for Bapak Alfa Marcelino and Bu Junisa. The second one, thank you so much for Bu Rizka Febriliani Putri and Maidi Tania. And the first one is Dr. Stefan Wahyudi and Dr. Lohkita Arifiandi Putri. In 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for our presenters. You may come to the seat. Let's give them another round of applause, everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived at one of the highlights of today's event. The Genomics and Science Dojo continues to evolve by expanding learning opportunities beyond face-to-face programs through the development of the Dojo program. And now, the moment we have all been waiting for. It is our pleasure to officially launch the Genomics and Science Dojo platform. And to officially launch them, may I kindly invite Ibu Yuni Dwi Setiawati, CEO of the Summit Institute for Development, Ibu Julia Takahashi Robertson from the British Embassy Jakarta, as well as Bu Dewi Nur Aisyah from Ministry of Health. Please come forward to the stage for the official launching ceremony. Please wait a second for the screen. Are you ready, operator? Please come to the front, Bapak and Ibu. Bapak, Ibu, I'm so sorry. Please place your hand on the hand sign on the screen, and we will count 3, 2, 1. Are you ready? Yes? Let's count it together, everyone. 3, 2, 1. Give an applause for everyone. Give it applause, everyone. Ibu Bu can back to the seat. Thank you so much for your dedication. Next, we will dive a little deeper into what the platform offers. And to explain a bit more on this, we would like to invite Mbak Winditia Safira as our project lead on Genomics and Science Dojo 3.0 to explain more about the platform.
Test.
Mbak Winditia, time is yours.
Thank you, Fika. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Should I stand here? I think I'm gonna stand here, it's fine. I think I'll block the screen, it's okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Are you still in good health? Are you hungry? Can I get like, hello, everyone? Great, I'll try to finish this quick. Hello, for those who don't know me, my name is Tia. I am one of the committee from the Genomics Science Dojo 3.0, and I'm here today to explain just a little bit more about what the platform is, what does it offer for, and before I dive deep into it, bear in mind, I'm still recovering, so you'll hear my cough, ignore it. I'm excited to be here. So, before I dive deep, you might be wondering, why do we need a platform? All of you are coming from all over Indonesia, from Cycle 1 back in April, Cycle 2 in June. We have been here for 5 days. Why do we need a platform? That's exactly why. Because we feel like this year, especially, there's a growing interest in the Dojo program, and we feel like there's a limited capacity Perhaps for some people joining from far away, or some people that might miss the deadline. Oh, I want to join the dojo, but the registration is closed. I have to wait another year. We want to enhance learners so that you can access this anywhere, anytime. That's why we created this platform. We want to help you to experience dojo, not the next year, not to wait another year, but in your room, in your university, so you can do dojo online, anywhere, anytime. That's why. Okay. So now that we know why the platform exists, maybe I need probably help from our operator back there. We're gonna do a little demonstration how the platform works. So how do we get to the platform? So perhaps everyone can Google search. Yep, just click science-dojo.io. Maybe the committee can send the link of the dojo platform. If all of you want to try, explore the platform on your own, there will be a special surprise as well at the end. So yes, just click science-dojo.io, yep, and then you'll see this landing page. Right? Here we say dojo platform for scientific leaders. Why? Because yes, dojo want to enhance technical and scientific capacity, but the core of dojo is about challenge. It's about combat. So we help participants to challenge ideas, to sharpen minds, to pursue truth. Those are characteristics of a great leader. So that's why we want to create this platform for the leaders in the scientific community. And if you go down, scroll down, yeah, of course, this is co-founded by the Summit Institute, GISA Lab, Crew, yep, and then supported by the UK Embassy. Yep. Go down, and then here you can see meet the dojo creators. As I'm sure you hear, some of them became the panelists and give opening remarks. We have Prof. Anurag Shankar here, and then Bu Yuni, Daniel Fattori, and Felipe from Brazil. Dr. Arul Pradipta was here earlier, and Prof. Rina, maybe she's here, maybe not. But yeah, these are the dojo creators that help set the foundation of what dojo is. Scroll down. Yeah, these are the dojo principles. So if you want to explore what makes dojo dojo, maybe I want to highlight some principles. Active participation. As I'm sure you know, throughout the dojo, you are encouraged to always participate in the discussion. Even in the learning material, you're asked to discuss with your peer, to deliver your opinions, to challenge people, challenge other people research. And another principle is about experiential and then competitiveness as well, because it emphasizes on learning by doing. As I'm sure you're also familiar with Ninja Run, with debate, so you are forced to be in a competition with your peers, but sometimes the right competition can bring out the good motivation to challenge yourself and see how far you go. So yeah, those are the dojo principles. So what makes dojo different? I think Bulia have mentioned a little bit about the unique activities in the dojo. Some of them are wounded healer. It's kind of an open discussion between sensei and participants. The aim is to create a safe space for the participants to grow, to learn, to become a better researcher. And then we have Shinjitsu Ninja, and then Shinjitsu Tournament. Again, a lot of experiential, a lot of activities designed for you to be critical. Yeah. So how do you join the dojo, right? So the way you do it is you can click join free. So you create an account. So you click the join free, and then you can sign up using your email, or you can use your Google. Maybe for easier access, you can sign up with Google. Yeah, so this is just an example. Click just an account. And then it will take you to this dashboard, right? So in the left, you see there are Dojo Learning Hub, which essentially explain what the features of Dojo. So the first feature is the self-learning courses. Maybe you can click on that. Great. So in the self-learning courses, you can enhance your critical thinking, your scientific communication, and your academic skills through specific courses that is developed by our experts or our sensei. And some of them are free right now. Some of them, this is again, sorry, the first version of our platform. So there will be many updates and many refinement later. But maybe we can click on one of our the courses from maybe, yeah, whichever, the free one. Wall figures, perhaps. from Dr. Edward. Yeah, so in each of the module or the course, there will be subtopics, right? And then there will also be a topic overview, there will be a video learning materials, there will be a reading material, and you can do quizzes to test how much you learn from each material. And then at the end, if you finish the course, there will be a final exam for you to do, and you can get certificate that you can perhaps include in LinkedIn and post on your social media. Hey, I finished this course XYZ. So yeah, maybe click just maybe to run through what are the, yeah, this is the example of the material. And then next you can perhaps see like maybe there's a video. Yeah, so this is just an example of the video learning that you will get, essentially of the material of the courses that you chose. For the next future installment, we will make the video more refined or professional, but for this first version, you'll get an explanation and you can maybe try to play it a little bit, just to give an overview. Yeah. So this is an example of the video. As you can see, there's your sensei in below. But again, there will be a more professional video shooting in the later version. Yeah, this is just an example of what you can learn on your own. Again, this is self-learning course, so you can pace your own learning. If you are, you want to learn on the weekend, you can just open and have this access on the weekend. Maybe we should. That's very clear for course material. We should move on to the next feature. Maybe go to the Dojo Sprint. Yeah, so the next feature, other than the self-learning courses, is the Dojo Sprint, right? The Dojo Sprint essentially replicates the Dojo model offline, but we make it online. Right, so we have several activities that makes Dojo. We have mentoring, we have ninjaran, and then we have tournament simulation. So if you want to do a debate, online debate with your opponents, you can invite them to join the dojo, but they have to register to their own account first. So here, for the mentoring, you can find your sensei, and then you can connect with them and request mentoring, right? And then the sensei will get notifications on their email. They can set a mentoring time and agree and then meet together. And below, if you scroll down, oh yeah, how to create Dojo Sprint, you can just click on the bottom button there, Dojo Sprint, and then maybe you can just like tell which sensei you want to request to mentor you, let them get to know you, and then you can click on which activity, continue. Yeah, just fill out some personal information about you, your title, your affiliated institution, and then you can choose your sensei. For example, let's just choose, for example, Dr. Edward, sure. Yeah, and then continue. Yeah, and then you can choose the activity that you want to add to your Dojo Sprint. For example, you want to do mentoring, and then afterwards you want to do ninjaran, and then the last you want to do sparring or tournament sequentially. So you can just click all of them and click continue. And in the mentoring itself, you get to choose which topic that you want to focus on your mentoring on. For example, choose bioinformatics fundamental. Oh, sure, yeah, whatever. And then go scroll down. Yeah, and then for the ninjaran, because it's a time-limited challenge, as I'm sure you're familiar, you can choose which date and month that you will do the ninjaran for. For example, you'll do it in 24th July, yeah. And then for the tournament, because you cannot do tournament alone, you can invite opponents. You can fight your friends, your peers, even if you live in different cities, which is exciting because that's the point of this platform, is enabling you to do dojo activities even you're not in the same space. And then click continue. Yeah, so this is just an example of the steps to create Dojo Sprint. And then you can click Submit Request Dojo Sprint, and then all the mentors and all the people that you invited to do tournament with will get an email notification. And they will accept, and then you can do mentoring here as well. Yeah, so far, so clear? Yeah, great. So the next feature is called the Global Network. As I'm sure it's pretty similar like a LinkedIn. So in here, the aim is to build meaningful connections, because Dojo is not about, again, enhancing your scientific capacity, but one of the perks is to meet other people in the scientific community, to learn from one another, to challenge research, and be friends, perhaps even long after the Dojo ends. So you can just find the friends that you want to connect with, but they have to register with the Dojo account first so that they can be found, right? Yeah, these are the global network. Later, in the future version, perhaps we could have a Dojo community in each city of Indonesia. That would be great. I think to have a meetup or to have a scientific tournament, debate forum in each cities, I think that would be great. So last but not least, there's a button here called My Dojo Progress. Yeah, in My Dojo Progress, this is the view when you want to see how many courses are you taking, and then what's the progress of your dojo sprint, whether or not you're accepted with mentoring with some sensei. So this is just a dashboard for you to track your progress in the dojo. So that's pretty much what the basic features of the dojo platform. Now we will move to the special session that I was talking about earlier. Perhaps we should see if some of you are actually listening and some of you are actually applying to the Dojo account. Wow, we have many new users. So basically, we have a special gift for the 5 first users who actually joined the account, so that I'm not explaining for nothing. As we can see, sorry. As we can see, we have Bu Luluk. Sorry, can you move your Bululuk Hermawati? Can I maybe call you upon in the front? Thank you very much for joining or creating an account in the dojo. We have a special gift for you. See, this is why I do not tell you that there's a gift, because you will just apply for nothing. This means that they're actually listening to me. Bululuk, please. It's okay, thank you. And what's your first impression? I mean, I know that it's not been a long time. What's your first impression looking at the platform?
It's so prestigious, yeah, because like you accommodate the dojo journey into the platform, so everyone even is not involved in this workshop or in the dojo tournament can join.
Wow.
Enjoy the dojo spirit.
Thank you. That is the purpose of that. However, of course, it's not perfect. We will make revenge, but we appreciate that. Okay, you can stay here first, and we'll see the second lucky user. There's an unnamed member there. We can't call that. Okay, we'll move to Dani Chatrianingsi. Bu Dani, can you come to the front? Woo! Sorry, I'm recovering, everyone. Okay, thank you for creating an account. Do you have perhaps first impression that you want to say about the dojo platform, or any feedback at first impression?
Okay, so thank you. I think the platform is very cool and Sigma because I scroll into the bottom and there is some kind of publication of the dojo too, and it's really useful, I think, and it's so really cool.
That's great. Oh, actually, operator, can we see that? That's a good point. I actually skipped that explanation. So in the dojo platform, before you log in, I've mentioned there's a landing page, right? You have to log out first. Yeah. This is the landing page, right? So these are all the informations that you can know about what is dojo, why dojo is created, the pillars, the principles, and these are the publications that our alumni have done. So if you are, I don't know, might want to read some of them, that's great. And if your article that you just submitted also is getting published, you will be here. So your paper will be here as well. So congratulations in advance, I guess. Okay, thank you. So we'll go back to the user, the third user. Let's see. I see some familiar names. So after Bu Dani Chatrianingsi, Oh, our name member is uploading the picture now. I think it's Friendly, is it not? No. The before Budani. Before Budani. Who is this? It's unnamed member, but I see some picture now. What is your name, sir? You want to claim your prize, I guess, because you changed your picture. You want to be recognized. Please come on front, and we'll love to hear your first impression. You changed your picture means that you kind of want to be recognized or something. I don't know.
I just complete the profile.
So what's your first impression?
Actually, my first impression, I think the data from all of our exercise for the minicamp and workshop is already complete, and now what we experienced it here, you guys would like to share it to the public, and so other people can experience what we experienced for the last 5 days, 10 days in total, and maybe can I give some input? Sure, yes. I'm a gamer, so I really love that maybe the challenge would for some, like, you give some reward of point that we can exchange for some kind of item. So so maybe like item or reward that, yeah, maybe will encourage people to engage more in your platform. I think that's it.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what we're looking for, actually. We're having this first impression. No, you'll get a special prize. Just stand here for a little bit. Yeah. Thank you. That's a very good input. As I've mentioned, this is only the first version. So we hope to have a lot of you here join us, give us your feedback, your input, so that we can refine this for our future version, our released. Okay, next, the first user. Right? We have Bu Ana Maria. Bu Ana Maria? Oh, maybe we'll skip that first, but we'll save her a slot. Oh, interesting. Now we have the judges. One of the judges that were actually involved in the dojo was one of the first 5 to create an account. Thank you very much, Pak Ahmad, for the enthusiasm. Would you want to share your first impression, your feedback? You can stand here, that's fine.
Thank you. I didn't realize it's going to be okay. It's interesting. I think I just talked to also Kang Husna. There are certain things that seems to be very exclusive only for the dojo participants. Initially, I thought this is actually for general public. So maybe we can have a certain space. Which one is for publics? Which one is for dojo participants? I found it also very useful because you posted some of the interesting lectures, like the WOW lecture. It's also very important to teach in university. So hopefully, I look forward for more interesting features in the website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Muhammad. That's a very good point. Yes, we do have some that are free. We do have some that are subscription. For now, it's mostly free, but that is a good input for us to specify what are considered to be free and what are considered to be subscription later on in the future releases. We appreciate your feedback. Do Bu Ana Maria already come back from the toilet? What do you guys think? Do we do we wait for her, or do we move to the next user? Okay, so our last 1st user is Bu Sophie Siti. Bu Sophie Siti. Is she here? Oh, we would love to hear from you. Thank you for creating an account in the dojo. Thank you very much. Any first impression?
Yes, it's really nice platform, and also some lectures there. So it makes us maybe a refreshment, like I said, because after this dojo or workshop, we maybe have some works and also forget some material, and I think it's really useful for us. So.
Thank you very much, Bu Sophie. Perhaps you can stand with Pak Ahmad. Do you want to stand? Or maybe we'll do it for. Yeah. Okay, so for the first 5 user who's very enthusiastic in creating an account in the dojo, you can stand here. We have a special prize for you. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Thank you for your feedback, for listening to me explaining. Thank you. Okay, so a representative from the committee will give a special gift. A token of appreciation. Perhaps for the dashboard, we can back to the landing page. Okay. So first is for Pa Ahmad. Thank you very much, Pa Ahmad, for creating the Dojo account. Hope this is the first of the many hundreds, thousands. Take a picture perhaps here. Thank you very much, Pa Ahmad. And then the next, Bu Sophie Siti. Thank you very much for creating a Dojo account. Hope you explore the platform more. Thank you, Ibu, for creating an account. And then for the fourth, thank you, Ibu Lulu, for creating an account. And last but not least, the unnamed member who has a very good feedback. Let's see if you create an account and invite more friends. Okay, thank you everyone. However, we do want to appreciate because there are some other names that we did not call that created the Dojo account. The committee will send a feedback form in the group. So please explore the platform. Please try to read more about it. We love to hear more feedback, more input so that we can refine this platform to be a better one for the next release. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Now, I think that's the end of my explanation before I go even sicker. I'm going to return and hand over my mic to the MC. Thank you very much.
Thanks a million, Katia. Congratulations on the official launch of Genomics and Science Dojo platform. Give it applause again, everyone. May the platform becomes a sustainable place for learning, collaboration, and innovation that empowers researchers across Indonesia and beyond. Now, before we close the event, we have a special documentary film that we would like to play for all of you to watch. This highlights all the key moments and memories we had throughout the dojo, from Cycle 1, Cycle 2, Workshop, and Dissemination. Everyone, please enjoy the film.
After the third antibiotic for the so it's remind the most
The Genomics and Science Dojo is different from other types of trainings in science or critical thinking.
This is kind of a unique program that developed together with Summit Institute for Development, Oxford University Clinical Research Unit, and also GSI Lab. At that time, we were thinking that we have a lot of data in genomics, right? Indonesia, it hit a pandemic at that time, and a lot of data in the country, but that's not published yet.
Built upon the principle of martial arts. We want the participants to be able to do a competition, doing some critical feedback with sparring and having brainstorming.
We welcome you here today.
You work more relevant and more impactful.
All right.
Because the key is to get to good quality science, you have to have discourse, you have to have exchange of ideas, there has to be critical thinking, and critical thinking means there has to be critical language, critical action.
Yeah, I think Genomics and Science Dojo is very innovative because we would like for this training event to be very two ways. So a lot of learning not only from the sensei to the participants, but a lot of learnings from their participants to another participants.
Sorry to interrupt. You have 5 minutes left to do the discussion.
Yeah, we need also to start also as Dr. Ali mentions also how we start also first.
I think Wounded Healer session is really great because it creates us this nice environment, atmosphere, and like we're being empathetic to each other.
We heard so many experience that in the end it comes up to the agreement that communication is really important.
Yeah, it seems like to be the part of Squid Game. Yeah, it's adrenaline rush. Yeah, to be honest, it's quite difficult because we need to do the task in the time where we have time limit, and it's quite difficult, but it's fun actually.
Actually, this is my very new experience to do the ninja runs like today.
Orange, that was the current available questionnaire in Indonesia right now.
The number will be split equally, like scattering.
Use that because that sponsors along that video, and then it not be closure that is sponsored.
Now, how is this different compared to other kind of science activities is that we simulate a direct challenge further through the dojo tournaments, where teams and groups will be placed to challenge each other through questions and criticisms, and they have to answer them and try to come up with a solution and new hypotheses.
Okay, so my expectation is actually I get new knowledge, especially on the critical thinking and statistic method and maybe genomic method. So yeah, basically I want to share the knowledge I got in here to my student back in Surabaya.
Strike with argument, defend your idea.
Wow, what a great documentary. How do you all feel watching this film? I will ask one participant for their opinion, okay?
So after watching the video documentary about regarding our activity in minicamp, in Shinjitsu tournament, it's cycle 1, cycle 2, Dojo 1.0 until 1.0 until 3.0. It's quite fun when I just seeing this video, but yeah, actually the reality it's not that fun as that. Okay, but overall for the video it's quite great and little bit dramatically with the sound and any visualized animation. So good job for all committee. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel like it is great that we can be a part of your journey as much as you are part of us. So thank you everyone for joining and staying with us until this time. This concludes the Genomics and Science Dojo Dissemination and Platform launching. On behalf of the organizing committee, we are sincerely thank you for your participation and support. We hope today's discussion have inspired new collaborations and strengthened our shared commitments to advancing health research and scientific innovation. We wish you a safe journey home, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future Dojo programs. My name is Vika, and I'm signing out. Thank you, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Before we officially close, I will hand my mic over to our project lead, Mbak Widitya. Time is yours.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so perhaps just to commemorate the moment, I'm very glad that you seem to enjoy the documentary. Yes, perhaps we could have a all photo session together because I think some of the participants were on the toilet back then. So if you can stand up and take a photo together, Irshad, where would it be better? Yeah. Perhaps all the sensei can be here. Yeah. Senseis, and please stand here. Stand here. Ishan, perhaps stand or? Oh, okay. Also, everyone, if you do want to post about this activity, please do not forget to tag at SID_Indonesia at our Instagram. We'd love to hear about more of your experience and repost your stories. Thank you. Okay, so for all the sensei, please sit down here. Please sit down there. Yeah, sit down, please. Yes, Mausna, of course. Sit down, Wei Why are you sitting so far away? Bu Dewi, boleh duduk nggak apa-apa? Kamu juga ya, tamu undangan juga duduk ya. Pak Damas sudah pulang. Bu Yuni, Prof Rina, please feel free to sit down. Who else? Pak Ahmad, maybe? Ahmad, you want to sit down? Oh, yes. Okay, so participants, please join us. Yeah. Behind the sensei, everyone, let's go. Yeah, di atas panggung. Matiin aja ini ya. Matiin aja. Participant, can you move forward a little bit? Move forward. Yeah, great. Yes, you can kind of sit down below as well. Yes, in the back, if you want to sit down below. Yes. Felicia, Bu Felicia, you can sit down.
Okay, yeah. Okay, ready? Are you ready? Genomics and Science Dojo. Arguments, defend your idea. Satu lagi. Okay, ready? Genomics and Science Dojo.